or any of the other popular things that are said about anything. I think, is it possible to take something that you're extremely bad at and get good at it? That was basically the foundational question.
Wait.
And if it's possible, and not impossible the way that I thought before, then what else is possible? So it's really questioning a lot of these things that I grown up with and thought were true, and then seeing what else really, if I was wrong, what else was I wrong about? What can we do with all this stuff? So anyway, 2013 decided to teach myself about art. No experience, no idea what I'm doing. So since then I've worked every single day. So since 2013 I've worked on this thing every day. I can promise you that much. Now I definitely have not been perfect in how I've worked on it, and I have impressive. And you can see the very beginnings are nothing impressive. Pretty poor, pretty just stiff.
I don't think so.
Poorly done drawings, and then another 4,000 over here. So I was just drawing every day, all the time, as much as I possibly could. Just more of the same.
Wow.
Again, nothing impressive, just drawing, just following. And then did mostly figure for thousands and thousands of drawings, and then I guess at some point here, also done.
This is incredible.
Just drawing and drawing and drawing and drawing. And I stopped at about 6,000 because I realized at that time that I need to start doing some more careful drawings to take longer time and
What?
not have any pressure or stimulus to like try and get through a drawing quicker. Because when I'm numbering drawings and the goal is 10,000, then I didn't want to have any sort of pressure to stop a drawing earlier. I wanted to take one drawing and it would be the same amount of time as 100 drawings would be otherwise. So I discontinued counting and I moved on to just drawing more, but at this time with better analysis. I also did another pass on anatomy. I studied anatomy years before, but now when I also had a little bit of drawing, I could appreciate why it's necessary, and that I couldn't just photo bash it in if I didn't understand how to connect things properly.
Yeah, you can photo bash. Yeah, you can.
How things connect each other, how they go together. So I'm kind of just showing you these in a pretty poor way right now, but when I start showing some drawings, you get to see them more in detail. I just wanted you to see the quality. And I remember one comment from one of you guys said that they discovered newsprint and it like saved their life because of drawings didn't have to be precious anymore. This is all just training to me. It literally is just training. I don't need to save anything. I don't need to. Nothing's precious.
What am I typing? I'm typing in something.
The highest possible value for me is just it's learning. It's doing something and
Oh, here we go.
looking at it, learning about how to build skills, learning about how to change my brain, how to transform myself, how to do something I couldn't do and work at it in an organized, disciplined way in order to develop it and then connect it to other things and try and do it more strategically so I stop having to disappear and being consistent with other things that I'm doing because something just needs to be prioritized because it's now critical. So I guess let's show you some work and I'll keep trying to go over some of these things. Video is getting long. I'm sorry. I do hope that it's useful though. And yes, anyone that is interested.
Okay, so
let's move on then. Alright, so let's get into some work. I've prepared a timeline for you guys. So we're going from top to bottom, top being worse, where we start from, bottom, hopefully getting better.
what?
And I also just want to scroll you through.
That's good already.
With things that I've saved. Now, before we get started, I just want to make a quick distinction between making a finished piece, making an image, and practice. Now, I've talked about this before, but I think
This guy's so good already.
for the context of what I'm going to show you, because most of the things that I'll be showing you are practice. Essentially, 90% of everything that I've been doing in the last year and a half has been practicing different things, studying different things. And 10%, the rest of the time, I would have been taking learning and trying to put it into a piece. Basically, pieces to me are kind of like testing. They're the game. They're after you've put in your practice on the court or in the weight room, then you take those skills that you've been developing and you take them out in the field, in the game, and you see how you play. You try and integrate all of these different things. It's important to me that you do both. If you practice only, then you really don't get to find out what you suck at. You don't get to integrate all of these various skills. You don't get to see what's firing correctly and what isn't really making sense yet. But if you're only doing pieces, then you're never allowing yourself that space to not have to rush through something.
What is this? Trying to figure out.
You need to actually let that stuff.
I like this guy's video. I'll have to
Actually portraying this correctly in order for it to be able to tell.
I'll have to
story
play this
A lot of times people
later because that's I also put under my liked videos. Let's see. He dissects it into backstory, building skills, 6 years of art every day, pitfalls, being self-taught, misinterpreting information, not seeing the big picture, signing up for NMA, discovering the true use of drawing, painting. Not sure. Steve Hudson. This guy's got tons of information in this video. I kind of like it, but what are we doing? We are not looking at anime, even though, why wouldn't you? We're going to be looking at, so, vegans. If I type in vegan, my health. So, this is by Joe Rogan. Let's see. Who is this? This is me. This is what I look like.
Issues. And they don't necessarily tie that to the diet because they remember feeling so much better when they first switched to it. So they don't think that what's happening 3 or 4 years later could be the cause of their problems. I see this all the time with vegetarian and vegan. That's what I want to talk to you about. In terms of that, because most people who switch to
just some random person on I don't know. I was on DeviantArt. I have like this picture. This picture is supposed to be a rendering, like an actual like good rendering. Something that actually takes more time. So it's this picture. I got it from DeviantArt. I probably should have like a reference to this person, but I don't like the lighting of this. Not a huge fan. So instead, I'm going to use this lighting and maybe challenge myself some more, because I could probably do this by copying the lighting, but instead I'm going to add these lines and the nice colors that I'm getting here, these nice oranges and reds. I really like that. So basically going to be combining these two pictures, or the lighting of this one with the pose of that one, and maybe like adjust like the hair or whatever. And then this was what I have here. So this is where a couple. She's a creeper. A creeper. Oh, right. She's looking through. Yes, of course. Hey, man, you gotta make sure that nobody's what? Because she's probably making sure that the kids aren't playing by themselves outside. So I started off with these pictures here of like what I wanted to do. Still with a woman. Still sticking with a woman. And I thought, okay, maybe she's going through like a door, right? Like that might be kind of cool. But I was like, well, I'm not sure what I'd do for the lighting with that. Maybe that's too much detail. Well, I don't know. This was basically based off of Lord of the Rings with Aragorn, when he like comes through. Yeah. This one wasn't really coming out well. I was like, nah. This one was also a potential, but I was like, well, I don't know. So I decided to let's zero. I should probably just delete these. I kind of like the buildings in that one. I might want to keep that one. Yeah, I might just keep the buildings. Then I have all of these. So I think, and then the person sleeping is going to have potentially the same look as this person here. So I'm going to give the person the same purple teal hair, give them the ears or whatever. So that will be the plan. Just random person on Pinterest. Okay, anyway. What we're looking for. Ready to do. Anything I can close? Maybe I'll leave these open. Now, I was thinking about doing it in black and white, but I really should just use color. Okay, let's learn about veganism. Okay, dude. Unreal. So I came across this video of this guy who's been on a carnivore diet for 6 years. 6 years. Unreal. Like, how do you even, like, function without, like, vegetables? So I guess you have to eat the organ meats, not just like steak, which I love steak, or chicken or eggs or whatever, but you have to eat like liver, spleen, kidneys, testicles, brain. Guy drinks blood. Like, it's crazy. He has literally like a bunch of jars of just organs, just chilling in jars, and you think to yourself, this is kind of creepy, a little bit. It's funny because he kind of reminds you of, like, not quite like a serial killer, but makes you a little worried. But he's not. He's fine. He's fine. And what was most interesting about it was, besides the fact that he's lived so long only eating meat, really, was that there's these videos of vegans that they don't look good. Like, after quite a few years of them being vegan, like, they look awfully thin, like almost like unhealthily thin. And quite often in their videos, they talk about how they have, like, diarrhea issues, they have gut issues, leaky gut syndrome, they're tired, they have foggy brain. They have these symptoms that seem to repeat themselves in all of their issues, and they usually chalk up to being like, oh, it's not because I'm vegan, it's not because of veganism. But they'll go to, like, a doctor and a homeopath, and they'll go to, like, multiple doctors, and they'll tell them, hey, you know what, maybe you want to eat, like, eggs or something, or fish, because you're, like, deficient in, like, 20 different things. And they'll listen to that, and then they'll just decide, oh, well, I guess we'll go to a different doctor now. And it's just like, this is insane. Like, you're literally having, like, multiple doctors tell you, hey, you've got to have some protein. You have to have animal products. And they're like, nope, next doctor. And I think that's incredible. It's so, I don't know. Like, it's almost sad because on one hand, you want to think that, hey, we live in a society, but we live in a society where, ideally you would have, we believe in science, right? That's the whole goal. That's what we're pushing for. Is like, hey, you know what? Does the scientific evidence back whatever it is that you believe? But they aren't doing good, and it's like they almost need to almost die to come to realization of it. And I wanted to find some vegan videos of this, and given I was listening to some like negative videos that were anti-vegan, that were pro-carnivore, but I want to find some videos to listen to while I'm drawing that are the opposite or something that I need still working. Thanks. That's fine. So let's just start off with ruin their health, ex-vegan story. I went vegan for 30 days. Here's how it's affected my health. Ex-vegan 3 years. Vegan ethics pressured me into neglecting my health. This is how a diet transformed my health. Let's do this one. Or maybe...
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm chilling outside.
High carb Hannah.
My house is really messed up right
This is
now.
a relatively new video.
Inside because I'm probably going to be showing a lot of photos during this video. But today I wanted to talk about how veganism and eating a vegan diet has totally transformed my health. The only reason that I say vegan diet or put it in the title is because it's kind of like a hot topic, especially right now with all the stuff going on in the vegan community. But I wanted to shed some positivity and share my story. I went vegan when I was 26 years old. So I've been vegan for a little bit over 6 years now. I am now 32 years old. A lot of you probably don't know this, but I actually went vegan for ethical reasons. And I think a lot of people assume that I went vegan for health because that's what I focus my channel on mainly, just because veganism has had such a massive impact on my health. But I actually went vegan solely for the animals. I had to go to a slaughterhouse when I was 26 years old for my old job, and seeing what went on there will forever haunt me till the day that I die. Like, makes me...
Ooh, wait, I need to clip and mask.
So, I'm not going to talk about that right now. I'll post some links to videos down in the description box.
Let's get a clip and mask
If you want
going.
to check out more of my story on specifically weight loss or specifically how I went vegan and why I went vegan. But today I really just wanted to touch on how eating this way has drastically improved my health. Not only just my physical health, but my mental health, my love towards myself, and just everything along those lines. So to start, I'll just kind of give you guys a brief background on before I was vegan and what I was kind of going through. Basically, my whole life, I was an overweight child. I was an overweight teenager. I was an overweight person. I struggled with my weight my entire life. I did a lot of restrictive diets, fad diets. I tried every single diet in the entire world. This
I doubt it.
To a lot of
I just saying.
Depression. I was an alcoholic. I smoked half a pack of cigarettes a day.
Well, alcohol's got tons of calories in it.
I had no love or self-respect for myself. I just hated who I was. I hated my life. I wanted to die. Like,
that's too
literally.
bad.
I mean, that sounds really dramatic, but I just hated everything. And because of this, I suffered through my life for a really long time. And I think the biggest thing, and the first thing that I want to mention that helped me improve my health dramatically, was learning to have compassion. I never had compassion for anything. And to be able to like have this emotional connection with these animals and see from their point of view like what is happening to them, that this is not necessary, they don't need to be killed, I don't need to eat this way. And to have that kind of compassion for something else and have that love for another being, it gave me so much compassion for myself, like tremendous compassion. Because I would be a hypocrite if I, cared so much about animals, not to eat them, not to hurt them, not to eat their byproducts or see them tortured or anything like that, but didn't extend that to myself. If I didn't stop torturing myself, if I didn't stop all these self-destructive behaviors. And I'm not going to say that it was easy to quit smoking or to quit drinking. I used to
Well, hey, well, you're good for her.
Adderall and prescription drugs.
Well, that's got to be a hard thing to do.
I hated myself, and I'm probably gonna get like emotional during this video, but I'm trying not to cry. But that was the biggest thing that veganism helped me with: self-love, like
Self-love.
loving myself, and not torturing myself to fit into the specific mold that society has said that I need to be. And that was probably the biggest thing that helped me transform my life through finding self-love and through finding compassion and like equality and all these things, and really like having a purpose in my life. It gave me so much purpose to take care of myself and to spread this message and to start my YouTube channel and to help other people.
So interesting thing from what she said, that part of this journey for her has been lots of self-loathing, right? Just lots of feeling bad for herself, not liking herself, and wishing she could change. Let me close out of that. So, thanks. Hang on. I'm also in another chat. I'm also in a, it's like an art chat. Let's figure out what's this person doing. What is this person making? So I'm actually in this chat room where there's actually multiple people, multiple artists in the chat, and we share our stream with each other. What are you making? Okay.
Other people, and being able to do that helped me in so many ways. So that's just kind of the background of, you know, how finding compassion led me to self-love, which led me to stop doing all these destructive habits like drinking and smoking and taking prescription drugs. I got completely sober.
Oh, I see. It is
Gene
Gene from Aladdin.
To like tackle real health issues because I knew that I was in that.
So, I mean, I'm glad that veganism has helped her be able to curb those bad habits and everything, which kind of makes sense. Why she would. Just remember, dietitian is better than nutritionist. What's up, Tussler? So when you say, what's the difference? I don't know the difference between a dietitian and a nutritionist. Let me clip this. Lock the layer, so if I were to... Because I'm not aware of the difference between the two. Because to me, like what, dietitian just works on your diet, but nutritionist actually knows the nutrition that you're eating. Okay. See, you don't have to have any certifications to be a nutritionist. Oh. Huh. So you can just be like, hey, I've gone on Google and vaccines cause autism, and I prescribe lots of lemon and oranges to my clients to make their bodies an alkaline pH, because even though they're acidic and you might think it might make you more of an acidic pH, it's going to be perfectly alkaline. Believe me, it's proven, it's tested. I found one study online, and I can't find the reference for you. It's not a big deal, though. Don't worry about it. That kind of thing? Okay. And I need to get, I want to let this play. I need to grab some granola. I have some like a homemade granola seed stuff that I need to eat because I'm hungry.
At a healthy weight, I still had a lot of issues. Like, I never really had acne or anything, but I had really, really bad psoriasis on my arms to the point where, like, they were so red they would bleed. And I thought that that was normal. Another issue that I had that people always made fun of me my entire life for was on my legs. I'll try to find a photo of it to explain it, but I always just called it hamburger skin.
Whoa!
Such bad
Her skin does look pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I'm allowed to play the video on the stream anyway, or can I? I guess I could if I'm considered commentary. It's different, right? So I'm gonna pull it up so you guys can see what. Here we go. Oh, you look at that. So let's just do that.
Get slightly cold, this would show up, and when I was
those veins look bad, yeah.
Basketball and doing all the stuff where I would show off my legs in like shorts and whatever, I would get made fun of so bad. And it's something that I didn't even really realize went away was the psoriasis and this like circulation issue that I had. But it went
glad I finally got food though.
A whole food plant-based diet. I'm just going to reference a whole food plant-based diet in this video because I went through a lot of experimentation with different kinds of diets and stuff. And what I found,
by the way, Tesla, what's up?
Just eating whole
what are you up to?
plant foods in abundance, not counting calories, not worrying about macros.
How's you and Cassie? You guys married yet?
Whole plants like beans, legumes, vegetables, fruits, whole grains, potatoes, rice, all that kind of stuff. And that is what has led me to this point. So, along with the skin issues that I had, I was always...
At Jack's working. Dude, tell Jack I said hey. I also tell him, yeah, I hope he's like, we are since July. Wait. You got married in July? Is that what... You know when I mentioned that, I somehow thought to myself, I think he is married. I think I've seen pictures. Dude, what does she see in you, man? Oh. I ask my coworker that all the time. His wife is like she gets promoted all the time, just super confident, works out, beats me. Yeah, it's literally the exact same thing as my other coworker. He's literally just like, yeah, I don't know what she likes in me or whatever, and I'm like, dude, I don't know either. Huh. That's the goal, right? Finally, that likes you, and you're like, I don't know why.
One of those people that would only go to the bathroom like once or twice a week, and that, I mean, it's so weird to think that we assume that something is wrong with us when it's really we're just not getting the proper amounts of fiber in our diet to actually move things through our bowels. Every single day, like clockwork, I go to the bathroom every morning. And
wait, what does that have to do with being vegan? That's really nothing to do with vegan. All you're supposed to be is... Hey, you know, if her having mental disorder makes her like you more, I mean, technically, hey, don't get her prescribed anything. Don't have her see a psychologist. Don't have her see a psychiatrist. Even if she like starts to get depressed, it's like, no, don't do it, hon. You can't do it. We're not to have some coconut oil or something. Have some wait, what beats depression? What food destroys depression? I think I typed destroys wrong. Ooh, Zook Hill. I like that terminology. Bananas. Fruit, oatmeal, water, salmon. There you go. So just feed her that diet. And that way she'll never be prescribed anything, so she'll always like you.
No issues. I have no constipation issues. Vegetables and fruits and nuts and beans and everything transports through our body the way that it's nature intended within 24 hours. And everything is assimilated, everything is digested, and you feel great the next day. I never feel bloated anymore. I never feel constipated. I never have issues going to the bathroom. And that is just from eating an abundant whole food plant-based diet. Now,
So that's a lot of fish. Cassie doesn't eat fish. Dude, how can you not eat fish? We literally live in a state where the state is half water. Like, I never understood that. Like, we live in a society that, I don't know, didn't everybody fish? Like, every dad, uncle, like, everyone fishes? So, I think you're right. I think she does have a mental disorder. I hate fish unless it's sushi. What? How do you make sense? So you don't like cooked fish? You like raw fish? How does that make sense? Or is it the soy sauce that does it? Have you had like fish the way the Asians prepare it? Because that's pretty good. Okay. So I'm still not changing my stance, by the way. Even though I was dissing people who don't like fish, I'm still holding strong to my opinion.
The biggest thing that a vegan diet helped me with was getting to a healthy body weight and having a healthy body that I can move and I can run and I can lift weights and I can be active and super.
But the issues that she's talking about right now has nothing to do with actual veganism. She was just having too many calories. And too much sugar, probably.
And I don't think that should be anyone's goal because none of us are getting out of here alive. I want to just make it to the end, being able to walk, being able to, take care of myself, being able to chew my food, not have a disease. And I look at all the plant-based doctors. I've met so many of these doctors in person. They're amazing people, like Dr. Esselstyn, Dr. Colin Campbell, Dr. Greger. I met all of them last year. Dr. Frank Sabatino. Like, I've met so many vegan doctors that are 70, 80, 90 years old, and they're still doing everything that you would assume that you could do until the day that you die. And I think that that's really the goal, because we focus so much on, like, looking young as long as possible, or, like, being a certain physique. And, like, I just want to be healthy.
Wait, so what doctors has she met that are 90?
Take care of myself. That's my goal. Like I was saying, the biggest thing that has changed in my life is definitely my weight. Before I was vegan, like my entire life, I remember when I was 12, I went on a diet, and it's really sad to say this, but at the beginning of 6th grade every year, we would get weighed, and they'd take our height, and they would do like this little body analysis thing, just as part of phys ed, I think. And I remember at the beginning of that year, I weighed 116 pounds, and I was like 4'11" or something. And at the end of the year, I was the only kid who still weighed the same exact weight. And I was so happy about it. And like looking back at that, it's just so messed up because I was a child, like I was growing, and I was laying in bed at night, like doing endless hours of calisthenics.
Sushi isn't like, oh, beer has that one taste which is disgusting. You know what? That's actually kind of fair. I'm not a huge fan of beer. Never have been, and no matter how many times I taste beer, I'm still like, this isn't good. But I think I can understand that. Like, what that tells you is the fish is old, right? So I guess when fish is fresh, it doesn't taste like, it doesn't smell like fish, right? It smells like the ocean if it's from the ocean, you know? But I don't blame you. A lot of people don't like the taste of fish. I personally, I eat sardines out of the can, man. So I'm not fussy.
I have had it go up that point and come back down, but it seems like whenever I just eat like 90% healthy all the time, my weight stays at this weight. And I really couldn't ask for anything more. To be able to have that kind of freedom in my life, to be happy and to be healthy and to be able to like do everything that I want to do and live my life and not have to ever diet or ever worry about food or worry about calories or worry about anything is honestly like that was my wish. If I had a genie in a bottle who was like, what's your one wish? It would have been to be a healthy weight and not have to ever worry about food. And for anyone who is struggling with that or has struggled with that, I would highly recommend
what foods was she eating?
How to eat a proper vegan diet, watch Dominion, watch Earthlings, watch Cowspiracy, just so that you can see like the ethical connection. I mean,
I've had freshly caught fish, gutted, prepped, and cooked in front of me. It still tastes the same. Huh. Jack's theory is that I don't like Jack's theory is that I don't like the one taste, so I pick it out all. That's possible.
I really just hope for other
Yeah, I don't know.
that they can overcome not just like their health.
Meaning like it's this very particular fish, so if there's any hint of it in other fishes or whatever, you're just like, nah, no good.
I always say that it'd be really funny if I could just transport back into my old body, or if like somebody who is really unhealthy or struggling with a lot of stuff or overweight or whatever could just kind of transport into someone who's really healthy to see what it feels like, to see how life can be. Because when we go through a health transformation, you know, it takes years and it takes a long time, and it's just like such subtle changes over time that it's very easy to forget.
Dang
where
it.
came from.
I'm not on the clipping mask.
And I see,
I'm a
like,
scrub.
and I like see this girl dying and inside to just find her way and to be able to live
probably
a healthy
just-
life. Like I just feel for her so much, and I'm just so grateful for.
I know that yeah.
All the
reason
reasons
this
this
was
my way. Every single person
put by
out
the
there
door
promoting
opens.
vegan diet, showing themselves thrive,
And-
like the world needs.
I guess they felt really awkward opening our package.
Pinpoint like one or two people who have failed and made a
So,
viral video out of
For
it.
some reason
But
in the
there's
lobby,
so many
there's
more
like
of
4
us out
packages
there
of
thriving
ramen.
and
It's just
overcoming
there, and it says
health
free.
problems
And I was like
issues
really, it was like the
in
good
our
ramen
lives,
too.
not having to
And it's like I was really tempted to take it. I was
Are
like, why is it free?
modern,
Why?
inhumane,
Are you thinking that someone did something to the ramen?
I mean, it's closed. Like, they couldn't have done anything to it. But still, like, who buys ramen? It's like, besides, no, I don't want it anymore. Maybe they saw the documentary of how it all turns to black stuff in your gut.
Oh yeah, maybe. Let's see. And I know I do that with beer because my friend is dedicated to finding one that I actually like. You know what? That's why you go to like hard ciders, my dude. Hard ciders is probably the only thing that I'm like, this is tolerable. That's it. That's it. Dang it! Wrong layer again.
Videos I have, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. And
So I'm watching a vegan video.
Right.
Pro-vegan, not anti-vegan.
Not
And she was overweight, and she became vegan, lost tons of weight, probably because she's not taking in a lot of calories. And she said that she was not she didn't have consistent regular bowel movements. And then the issues that she said she had really, like, veganism isn't the thing that actually cured her or fixed her. She just, I think, must have been just more mindful of her diet. Probably ate less junk. And, like, that's it. So, not convinced. Yeah, I like Strongbow, but whiskey and rum is more my thing. Ah, gotcha. So you're one of those guys that like to make the weird faces when you're done drinking something. Okay, so I have so many videos up. I wanted to come across. Oh boy. How it destroyed my health. Like, how in the world is the health benefits of a plant-based diet? It's a minute and 40 seconds, But then you talk about the negative consequences, and now you're up to half an hour. Like, oh wait, the Mayo Clinic? That's a reputable source.
Together with my colleagues, Dr. Denise Milstein,
But
Dr.
she
Andrew Shaw,
is
Dr.
pro
Barbara Reddy, and
anti-vegan.
Dr. Mark Wallace. We performed a review on...
Right, good point. I need to find, it's just too easy.
To find a reputable source that says veganism is good.
Well, I'm trying to find, like, vegan my health. Like, how can went vegan for 30 days. What about this guy? Now, how long has this guy been vegan? I want to know, like, I did Scotch tasting for my bachelor party. It was awesome. Can you taste the difference between the different Scotches?
It's your boy Eat Right Guy. I'm here to make a video response to one of my subscribers. The name is Make Every Effort, and the question was, if possible, could you do a video on positive changes, if any, that you notice about yourself since going vegan? Example, mood, skin, hair, etc. And so, to answer that question, I kind of want to tell y'all a story. It's kind of related to how I became vegan, and pretty much the one major change that influenced me to follow this lifestyle. And I might have already told this story before on one of my videos, I can't remember, but I'll just repeat it. And so, before I was vegan, I pretty much had a pretty healthy diet. The only type of meat I would eat was eggs, fish.
This started to get smoky to the point of it tasting like you put a campfire smoke in a liquid form and drank it. Ooh!
Pretty much just
Huh.
water. So my diet was pretty.
So do you like the smokier flavors, or do you like the other flavors better?
From like a year or two ago, I was in tip-top condition, like very lean, very athletic. I had a lot of energy in the gym. Like I could just work out and work out and work out and not get tired. I would recover really well, and so that wasn't really a problem. The one problem I had was my blood pressure. And I remember going to, at my job, they had this program called Healthy Lives. And this is if you had medical insurance with the hospital that I worked at. And if you met certain criteria, like a normal blood pressure, a normal weight, a blood sugar levels in the normal range, and you maintain that throughout the year, whenever they would check those parameters, you would get a discount every year on your health insurance. And even though I didn't have health insurance, I still participated in that program just to see what my blood pressure was.
Why would his blood pressure be high? No, Smokey was bad. Oh.
My systolic blood pressure would be like in the 130s, like 135, which put me in the category of pre-hypertensive. And I couldn't understand why. Because I'm like, I'm doing everything I should. I'm eating vegetables. I'm eating a lot of fiber. I'm eating a lot of fruit. I exercise. I'm doing everything that I need to do to keep my blood pressure in the normal range, but it's not. And I don't really have a genetic predisposition for high blood pressure because my mom and my dad don't suffer for it. My grandparents do, but they don't eat the best, and they're a little older, and some of them on blood pressure medicine, but like my mom and my dad have normal blood pressure levels. So I'm like, why? Like, what am I doing wrong? And even when I would get checked at like the dentist, because you know dentists always check your blood pressure, my systolic blood pressure was still.
Dentists check blood pressure? Majority of us, at least some of them, liked it. Okay. Yeah, Allie and I did once a taste. We tried a bunch of like hard ciders at a place that was close by. I thought they were pretty good.
And in his chapter on blood pressure, he said that people that had a normal blood pressure level of 120 over 80, if they followed a plant-based diet and cut out meats, their blood pressure would drop to 110 over 70, so it would get even better. And so I used to be really against veganism because I was in such good shape, and very muscular and can work out. I was against it, and the one reason why I was really against veganism was because of B12. I was like, if I have to take supplements, then this shouldn't be the diet that I should be on. I didn't realize, I thought B12 came exclusively from meat, but upon further research later down the line, I realized that bacteria make vitamin B12. And the reason why vegans are recommended to supplement B12 is because of our modern day sanitary practices, where we wash and rinse all of our fruits and vegetables, and as well as using pesticides and herbicides that kills that bacteria in the ground that produces that vitamin B12. And I also didn't realize that livestock like cows are supplemented with B12. So I didn't know all that. And so that's why I was resistant at first on following a vegan diet. But back to the story. After reading How Not to Die, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna see if my blood pressure goes down. I'm gonna give this 2 weeks, and I'm gonna see if what he's saying in his book is true.
Let's see if I can do it.
I didn't really believe it, so I went 2 weeks on a vegan diet, and I remember it was on a Saturday. I went to the gym. I worked out really hard that morning. Did a lot of cardio. My heart rate was jumping, and I went straight to Walmart after going to the gym. And Walmart has those blood pressure cuffs, those free blood pressure cuffs in a pharmacy area that you can use. And I was like, you know what, I'm about to see my blood pressure. Now that I came out the gym, my blood pressure is probably through the roof. So put my arm in the blood pressure machine, and the reading that I saw kind of blew my mind. My blood pressure was 107/71. So my systolic blood pressure went from in the 130s to less than 110, what Dr. Greger recommended. And I was shocked, you know what I'm saying? I actually rechecked my blood pressure, and I got the same results. And I actually took a picture of it, so I'm gonna put it in the video because I was so surprised. And from that moment on, I went home, I went on Amazon, and I just started downloading books on the vegan diet just so I can further educate myself with it. And what
Very interesting, because why was his blood pressure so high? Mine's fine.
I pretty much had to rewire
so I don't understand why his was so high.
Nutrition. And I actually felt bad because I was like, man, all these years I've been telling people to eat meat, thinking that this is healthy, and I've been leading people down the wrong path. And so if you look on my Instagram,
doesn't that sound familiar? It seems like both groups say the same thing.
When I posted of like my meals with chicken and everything, I thought about deleting them, but I kept them up just so I can be reminded of my journey, and that was part of my past. So my main difference that I noticed going vegan was my blood pressure. Like my energy, my hair. I obviously don't have any hair, so going vegan hasn't affected that. My energy hasn't changed. I always had energy. My mood has been the same. And that's probably because I still ate a pretty healthy diet. I still had a diet high in fresh fruits and vegetables. But from people that I talked to that didn't eat like I ate, that ate like a lot of processed food, a lot of processed meats, and a lot of processed dairy and things like that, when they transitioned to a plant-based diet, they felt like they had a lot more energy, their digestion got better.
Well, that's processed meat, not meat. That's the difference.
All those things that you mentioned, I've heard people saying that their skin cleared up if they had a lot of acne. So I think going on a plant-based diet definitely helps with that, especially if your diet was really poor prior to it. But that's just my experience, and I'm gonna continue living this life. I don't see why I should go back.
Okay, so this video is similar to the last one, where I can't tell the difference between like they have these issues that they're dealing with, so they have some health issues, but it's almost like, I don't know, it's like can the things that fix their problems only be vegan? Or is it the fact that you're like, hey, I'm gonna go vegan, and in general, eating whole foods is better for you than processed foods, and in that process of doing so, they're cutting out a lot of junk. Mixture of both meat and vegetables, fruit. We just eat bigger portions of meat than we need. You say that, Tussler. You say that, Tussler, but are you ready? Let's see if I can find this dude.
What's going on, guys?
This guy is insane.
What makes a diet healthy? What's the healthiest diet? These are the questions.
Why carnivore is the healthiest diet in all capitals. Okay, buddy.
What makes a diet healthy? What's the healthiest diet? These are the questions I literally typed into Google 6 years ago now, trying to optimize my health. So most people would agree that, and I guess think that don't eat any junk food and eat fruits and veggies, right? Well, conventional wisdom and preconceived notions are things we have to remove before answering this question. Preconceived notions such as saturated fat and cholesterol being bad for you, veggies and fruits being good for you, we can't just assume those things, because if we do, we're going to be incorrect in a lot of ways. We need to understand that there are various metabolic processes that occur in the body according to certain vitamins and inflammation and things, that when those preconceived notions are assumed, it becomes incorrect. In the case of foods that are bad for us, most people would say that, oh, well, don't eat junk food, don't eat sugar, don't eat refined crap, and that seems to be conventional wisdom, general culture, what Americans accept. But they also don't know that beta-carotene can be labeled as vitamin A, which is not true. Beta-carotene needs to be converted with fat. They don't know that yogurt has the fat removed and all the vitamins removed to be replaced with sugar. They don't know that there are various seed oils such as soybean oil.
I was thinking about getting yogurt
too. They literally think these oxidized laboratory experiment oils are healthy for them when they're actually the primary cause for heart disease. They don't know that there's various anti-nutrients, oxalates, phytic acid, lectin, so many negative things in modern grains, legumes, just vegetables, fruits. There's so many negative things in these foods that people don't know about. So how can they remove foods from their diet if they don't know what to remove? Well, the zero-carb carnivore diet removes all plant foods, and oddly enough, it achieves that without getting complicated. Now, yeah, you could go in and try to analyze every single food individually, whether or not we need to consume the heirloom, the old version, the version that our ancestors ate, or if it's fine to eat. That legwork and all of that grunt work takes years of research and experience to understand those foods individually. So let's say we've removed all those foods, all those inflammatory foods from our diet through the zero-carb carnivore mindset. Now, what's a nutrient-dense food? What constitutes nutrient density? I guess we can't have any of those negative aspects, right? And although that would say that plant foods are nutrient-dense, most people would argue against that. Most people would say, well, broccoli has vitamin A, vitamin C 10 times more than meat. And just because it says something is in it does not necessarily mean that the paper value of the food is what's going to be biologically available and digested in your body. The case of beta-carotene being converted into retinoic acid, for example, well, that requires fat.
I wish I understood half the words he was saying.
Would not have existed in nature in all parts of the world outside of the context of animals, and animals always have retinoic acid. So there's kind of like a fallacy with converting beta-carotene to vitamin A through use of unnatural foods. The example of vitamin K2 being only present in animal foods, omega-3.
Let's see. Blood sugar is proven to help with weight loss. I myself am a prime example. I have an addiction to sugar. Dude, I just finished off a bunch of dark chocolate just now. Sugar and exercise and try to eat healthier foods, but I always have to have some sugar guard. I say being healthy, just fat loss. Huh. Yeah, that's an interesting point, that people assume that, hey, you're losing fat, that means you're healthy. When in reality it could. That's not, those two things don't always correlate. Like, you can lose a lot of weight by doing a lot of cocaine, but I would not suggest it. Or if you like you could probably lose weight if you only had 500 calories a day. And if those 500, and it didn't matter if those 500 calories came from Oreos or a Big Mac, if you're only eating 500, but you're burning like 2,000, 1,500 a day, like you're not gonna gain weight. You're gonna lose weight, right? Or you can just fast. Just fast for 6 months.
Fatty acids. I mean, I don't want to go into those vitamins.
You always want some fat. Fat helps. Right, of course. You don't want to be just like a skeleton.
High quality animal foods, very high in vitamins, minerals, elements.
Like, believe me, like I'm a big fan of fat. I mean, not like fat, but like eating fat.
They require those vitamins.
Being below body percentage is terrible.
We can understand that plants
this is true.
that humans can digest, and that animal foods.
Because then, if there's any hardships, you're gonna die the quickest. You won't be able to last very long.
So, in the example of vitamin A, retinoic acid, cell differentiation is the process by which your body produces certain cells, whether it's a blood cell or white blood cell or whatever it may be, cells to heal the epidermis. Every cell in the body is made through cell differentiation, which is regulated by gene expression. And gene expression takes outside feedback. You get a cut, you get sick, someone hits you in the head. Gene expression regulates through outside input. You start breathing brake fumes every day or smoking. It tells your body what cells to make. And gene expression requires retinoic acid. Retinoic acid is the precursor to gene expression. So in the example of this very important vitamin that we would have only been able to get in the context of animal foods in nature, retinoic acid is essentially the building block of life in all of our cells, and that's why, foods like liver, and I talk about cod liver oil a lot. When I get sick, I eat a lot of liver. I only have mild symptoms. Liver heals my skin because of its retinoic acid content. I used to have bad cystic acne that would take weeks or months for the blemishes to go away, and they literally go away within days on a high vitamin A diet. So it's very
high vitamin A diet. That's that liver. Mind pulling that liver out of the freezer?
Is way too big to be discussed in a short.
Well, I didn't know when I was going to have it.
I mean, I could go into omega-3 functions of the circulatory system and how they make platelets less sticky.
Let's see. Also read the keto diet. Not sure. No, you're spelling it right. It says mostly meat and not a lot of exercise. Have you seen that? No, that's not really what it does. So Joe Rogan's talked about the keto diet. He's a big guy on it. So ketogenic is basically just mostly fats and proteins. Keto. So where's like a map? So it's not that you eat mostly meat. I mean, there is a lot of meat, but it's basically, in this picture here, it's mostly fats, proteins, very little carbs, right? So you'd have to find like low carb fruit, broccoli, and you only have like 30 to 70, I think it's like 30 carbs a day. Or for the most part, I mean, you end up having a lot of meat because you'd have like fish and like turkey or duck, high-fat animals. Now, as far as like not wanting to exercise, definitely not the case, because if you have nutrient-rich, like dense food, it satiates your appetite better. A good example is like red meat is a heavier meat, so you're going to feel full longer or than you would if you just had like chicken, right? Same thing if you ate like organ meat or bone marrow, or you can only have so much of it, until you get sick of it. Now, exercise. Exercise promotes appetite. Well, because it depends. So I'm kind of confused by what you mean when you say exercise promotes appetite, because why wouldn't you want to have appetite? Because with the keto diet, they don't really give like a calorie like limit to it. I don't think.
There's only so much of it you can afford.
Right. Basically, like, how much cheese and steak do you want to buy, you know? So I guess that's where the nuts would come in, and the olive oil is just douse everything in oil, right? Avocado oil, butter. But no, like plenty of guys work out doing ketogenic. Let's see. See, keto workout plan. Where's someone that's buff? Keto shredding. Oh, now
I can very much imagine, like, female keto people promoting that kind of a myth of don't work out too much kind of a thing.
Nah, do they not know how women look when they work out? Do they not know? I assume that there was still a calorie intake versus burning off. Not really in the keto thing, because it's kind of hard to take in 2,000. I mean, kind of, not really. I guess you're not taking in a whole lot of sugars, you're not taking in carbs, and your body is burning off the fat because you're in a ketogenic state. So I think there's a difference between taking, I guess the difference between if you want to bulk up or shred depends on how much fat versus protein you have. So if you add more protein versus fat, you gain more weight, I think. I'd have to look it up, see what this guy does.
Keto diet not too long ago. If you don't know what a keto diet is,
not too long ago, please.
Eat a little different from your traditional keto cutting diet. But like I said, my goal is strictly body composition. I want to be big, I want my muscles to be full, and I want to be lean. So that's the goal and the purpose of this diet right here. So I already have one. I've been fasting all day. I do intermittent fasting as well. So it's about 2 p.m., which is usually when I break my fast. We're going to go ahead and do meal 1, which, like I said, keto dieting. Our goal here is fats and proteins. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do 6 eggs. We're going to scramble those up. We're going to do 45 grams of bacon. And then we're going to do 85 grams of broccoli. And we're going to mix that in with the eggs while they're cooking. So the cooking, people are looking at grease is the bad thing, right? But that's part of your fat content. That's what you want for energy. So we're going to sop up as much of that as we can. We're going to cook the bacon first. I'm going to get that good. We're going to use the leftover grease in there. We're going to make the eggs in with that. Throw the broccoli in, and we're going to just have a nice dish here. So typically what I'll do, I work from home now because this is my full-time job. But usually I could make this in advance and then put it in a Tupperware container, eat it later. But now we're just going to prepare it at home and do it because, you know, I work from home, so it's easier that way. I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right, so we went ahead. I've already got my eggs deshelled. Is that the right word, deshelled? Mm-hmm. Got my eggs broken up there in the bowl. We've already weighed out our bacon and we got our broccoli.
This is a super basic meal. I already know about this. It's like every other dude that works out. It's literally like, oh, you want to bulk up? Brown rice, chicken, and broccoli. You want to bulk up, but keto, eggs, bacon, and broccoli. You just, it's literally like the same.
Alright, so these things on that can knock you out of ketosis and the entire fat burning process.
I mean, I just had that meal a couple days ago.
Alright, guys. Dietary, so my macros lit, so I can transfer fat in the
My fitness pal. Okay, buddy. Anyway, what am I looking at?
You make them more flexible, blood flows freer. You know, Eskimos take like 8 to 9 minutes for a wound to heal, whereas like Americans, I think it's like 5 or 6 minutes. So having that free flowing blood is more important for circulatory health. I can talk about how iron is required for blood health as well. I can talk about how vitamin K2 is required to metabolize calcium in the bones, how vitamin D3 is intertwined in all those processes. But all these vitamins, minerals, elements from vitamin D3 to vitamin K2 to iodine to selenium, whatever it may be, all of these are intertwined into this giant web of metabolic processes, and various vitamins need other vitamins to work together. And overall, to not get too complicated in this video, by
you already lost me, buddy.
nutrient-dense foods, these vitamins occur naturally in the ratios you need in them, i.e. if you're eating nose to tail, that they put the human body in optimal health. So I don't want to go too much into detail.
health.
I guess I could touch on an example of like DHA, which can only be raised in blood levels by consuming high omega-3 foods, is rise in breast milk from 0.2% to 1.8%. So obviously a baby
Let's see.
that is fed.
Start. I didn't say I want to lose weight. Start when I'm about 5K daily. That's pretty good. Give or take the energy. I was certain I would lose weight, but actually gained 50 pounds in muscle and still have the belly. Jeez, don't you hate that? My legs got bulkier. Right? You're trying to get rid of the gut, but the gut's the one that stays. Ugh. I guess you know what that means. Carrots. That's what Arnold Schwarzenegger says. How do you get those abs? It's all in the carrots. What? Okay, buddy.
I mean, like, I've gotten, like, pretty bony in, like most of my areas except my abdomen.
I know, unreal. I mean, I wish the weight all went to my arms and legs.
You don't... Since when have you ever had any weight?
That's the point. I wish I could get some. That's why I'm eating this really dense, rich nut mix. This has actually tons of sugar, coconut oil.
I'm sure if you would just eat 3 meals every day, it would help.
You're probably right. Yeah, you're probably right. Your mom sent me a text. Let's see. A picture is trying to download on my phone, and it can't. It's stuck. How can I cancel it or stop it? A picture is trying to download on my phone. Dude, cut out the pop. Jeez. When you say you're addicted to sugar, no kidding, man. If you cut out those 2 cans of pop and you still did your 5K.
There's supposed to be like some foods that help, like decrease your like sugar cravings.
Fat. Something that's really fatty.
I don't know if it's fat. I thought it was like blueberries.
Dude. You see, it's funny, Tussler. You already know your problem. Dude, I'm addicted to sugar. I'm trying to lose weight, but I got my gut still. But I have 2 cans of pop a day. Whew. That's a lot of sugar. That's like what? How much sugar is... Like, how much sugar are you supposed to have a day, and how much is like your daily intake? I wonder how many 2 cans is, or even 1 can. Can you... Dang, I gotta do this. Can you open all apps and close? Or just turn off phone and then turn back on? That's it. That's why I call it an addiction. There you go. I believe in you. What we gotta do is we gotta put you in a situation where you can't get pop. We gotta put you somewhere that's so cold that all pop instantly blows up. We gotta send you up.
Just outside.
Yeah, we gotta send them to Alaska or like northern Canada.
They have pop in Alaska.
We'll have exponentially better development than 1.2%. But all of these things are stuff that I can go into depth in other videos and just kind of get you guys exploring and understanding what health is. So,
tell Jack to stop getting some. Yeah, Jack, stop getting some. You're killing Tussler.
It talks about vitamins and all their functions, not to be confused with nutritionfacts.org, which is made by that ghoul, Dr. Greger. That is the opposite of what we want to look at. So I will link that. I will link some other videos where I talk about the difference between...
I'm sorry.
and protein. I will have videos.
Jack, you gotta cut it out.
Talking about like how we're afraid to be healthy. Those
I enjoy pop.
I have. I'll link those. In
But
the
you're
comments.
killing
If you guys
Tussler.
want to support me. Share the channel. That's all I really.
Have you guys heard of this before? Where my phone has been off for a couple hours and the phone keeps trying to let's see, a picture's trying to download on my phone and it says it's stuck. It says drive upload one file. Jeez. Anyway.
Across this very free Norwegian channel, and I was very surprised at seeing how she looked like 2-3 years ago, or like even 4 years ago now, compared to how she looked recently. And just, she went from being very happy, healthy, looking like 18 to, I don't know how old she was. She was between 17 and 19 years old. And now she's in her early 20s, but she could definitely pass for like late 20s, early 30s. And this is only in the span of 3 to 4 years, what I'm assuming is partially due to her vegan diet. So let's just take a look at an older video and then a clip from a newer video and just some pictures. Very healthy looking, skin complexion, like everything, like full cheeks. On a side note, guys, I act in New York City, although I've just really done student films. What is it? How can someone who has such a heavy nose go on to auditions? I don't understand. Especially in the United States, that just doesn't make sense to me. Isn't that like very detrimental to being an actor? I don't know why that. I don't know. Maybe somebody doesn't answer that. So as we saw, very very healthy looking. So this is not like the lighting isn't good, but she definitely knows her different, very different looking in the video. But let's look at some pictures. So here's a picture of her when she was, well, from 2014. I don't know how old she was here, but she looks very, very healthy looking. 2014, still very, very healthy looking, very pretty. 2015, this is not a good image of the face. Lighting. But 2017, this is 3 years. So from here, she looks very, very good. And whether this is partially due to her diet or to her aging, there's definitely something noticeably in her facial structure and her overall health. Look at this picture from this year. This is roughly 4 years apart. And going from looking like that to that, to me, this is something that especially this picture. She looks much, much older from year to year in the span of 3 years. This is 2017, this is 2014. I mean, very noticeable to me. pretty far away picture, but she looks a lot older. You know, 3 years older here. And then this picture is really good. Like, you know, even if she's wearing sunglasses, you see like her
Sugar's my favorite drug. They say it's just as addictive as cocaine, don't they?
It's healthy. Well, that's kind of from this to this, 4 years. And she looks, I mean, there's stuff like that, I don't know. In hindsight, that could be it too, but possibly heroin as well. Heroin shooting. But guys, my point is that, like, 4 years, you know, substantially older in the last 4 years. So whatever these girls doing with their lifestyle, including the vegan diet, obviously it's not working to keep her used to doing it. So let's watch the critique video and we'll talk about what she's eating.
Yeah, but I don't see me snorting coke. Straight IV of sugar into the veins is where it's at. Dude. Gotta get that palm sugar. Because there's so many different kinds of sugar, man. You can do basically anything. Dude, that'd be like almost like a funny comic. Just a person just sitting there, just dazed out of their mind as they have an IV hooked up to sugar, like a bag of sugar.
Doesn't like sugar and carbs like create certain kind of bacteria that always needs to like feed itself more sugar just to stay alive?
You know, the more sugar you eat, you create more gut bacteria that craves more sugar, that makes you crave more sugar. You know. Vicious cycle.
Obviously, you know, she's not just having oats and carrots and way. She's having raisins and bananas and cinnamon on there to make it palatable. And not only that, the only source of nutrition that might be from that whole meal, that sugar and cinnamon on it, is possibly some motorcycle mango and from fruit. Same thing with the mango, you know, motorcycle vitamins maybe, and it's just a meal full of sugar. All these, some of the comments on my videos, vegans with the sugar addicts, and it's really true. People have very fluctuating blood sugar levels, high metabolism, and they need to eat very high sugar, high carbohydrate meals every few hours, and especially in the morning just to get going.
Make some lunch, but before we do that, let me just say, I really want to thank my voice in general, and there are so many people out there, I'm sure they mean well, but they don't have a healthy relationship with food.
I tried quitting pot multiple times. I've quit for 1 month. I go out to someone's house for drinks and bam, coke. Oh no.
And your heart is beating out of your chest like it's about to explode to try to burn the extra calories.
I guess that just tells you that you can't hang out with people.
To me, that was a whole bunch of bullshit. What that means is that she's had girls comment on her videos, I eat like this and I look nothing like you, and I'm like thinking in my head, look at this girl, who is gorgeous, I'm assuming tall, amazing girl, excellent following the vegan diet, which is far from optimal for human health. And she's trying to say that she's trying to blame people on the vegan diet, and the reason they don't look like her is essentially having an unhealthy relationship with food. And from what she said, I don't know how I understand that, but I can assume there's a very negative connotation in her voice from what she's saying there, and there are some negative experiences that people had in the past eating like she has, maybe from some of the past videos.
I feel like this was the same thing that I made the last time I made one of these videos. It's just very simple and I can work them while
It's just so delicious, sweet flavors. I don't know. I've never been a fan of it. I always find them too sweet. I can't seem to get myself to actually like pop.
They grow avocados and cashews in Norway.
vegan cheese. This is from the brand. I can link it down below if you're interested. Check it out. Okay, so it's cooking up. I got the broccolis here. And
So what I'm gonna do with this is put it on a different layer, maybe. Like, when I know I shouldn't eat the whole pan of dude. When there's brownies here, I eat far too many. It's honestly a problem. I'm not gonna lie to you.
boil water, put in potatoes, carrots, and broccoli, some kind of meat, and a sauce. And that's typical Norwegian food for you. Obviously, I'm a vegan, so I eat very different now, and I'm very into food from foreign countries, Mexican food, Asian food, Italian food, and most people are. Actually thinking I'm gonna make what I eat in a day, typical Norwegian food, vegan edition. I'm actually gonna make that for you. So stay tuned for that. I will try to make it when I'm in Lofoten. I'm traveling next week and I'm staying for a month. So be excited for that.
What was that?
A lot of beautiful nature, road trips, and adventures.
It's probably in this one.
I'm very excited to get there and make those type of videos that I love to make. Okay, so here's the result. Nothing really fancy, but pasta, pesto, cashews, some cheese, and I'm shaking, I'm so hungry, and avocado.
I'm shaking, I'm so hungry. Well, that's not a good sign for anyone. I feel a little bad for this girl. So, I guess she, I don't know what's going on with these young, all these young girls seem to have enough money to travel, and I'm over there busting my ass getting 4 hours of sleep. So
I guess that is a question. How in the world do these girls get to travel so much?
avocado and cashews.
He just complained that these girls are traveling all the time, and he's just like, how do they do that? I'm trying to work,
He's just jealous.
Yeah, of course.
Besides, there's plenty of people who are also like travel begging.
Travel begging?
Like they go to Thailand and they end up being the beggars on the streets. Like, please fund my travels. I'm broke, but
Unreal.
it's my dream.
It's my dream to be broke and traveling and hungry.
Heated, they need to be radiated, there's a bunch of things that need to be done to cashews before you can consume them, so that's something worth Googling.
Or the one sailor couple that started the GoFundMe
Unreal.
to save their boat.
So broccoli is a cruciferous vegetable. There are goitrogens, there are nitriles, there are various anti-nutrients and inflammatory aspects of broccoli. So overall, there's no vitamins in this meal. There's possibly inflammatory fats and just refined carbohydrates. And this is an example of a vegan meal that can be detrimental. It's pretty much detrimental to your health in the long term. The first meal is arguably wasn't as bad because there's nothing refined in that meal, but this.
Sorry, what is MHA?
She didn't show that she had to. I'm assuming she put salt on it. She showed that.
Very green, and obviously there is broccoli in here, so we got green broccoli, green pasta, green avocado, green pesto, green ball, green lifestyle. Damn, it's bright, I can't see anything. I'm outside with my Sunday, and we're just taking some fresh air. I need to change my energy because today I've been trying
I'm noticing that this food fatigue that a lot of them are having, something that Rachel has.
And this is what I keep telling myself, so more stuff is coming up. So I need to change it, use the law of attraction.
You mean like they feel like super tired?
Just like a couple hours after they've eaten.
Yeah, they eat and they're just like, I'm tired, and then they're like, I need to eat more, and it's just like, oh no, when I have a good steak, a good piece of meat, or even like if you have anything rich, you feel fine, or like potatoes. It might be explained why like when you have oatmeal, it doesn't last. You think, oh, oatmeal, it's hearty, it'll last with you, but every time I eat oatmeal, I'm like starving. I'm almost more hungry within an hour.
Well, that's also one of those anti-nutrient foods, and like we don't soak them. Like you're supposed to soak oatmeal.
Yeah, so that could explain every time I do eat oatmeal, it basically is an anti-nutrient because my body's just like, dude, you haven't given me anything. That you're going on negative energy right now. Yeah, so that's why like I do like, even though sometimes this guy's a little cringy, he's able to find these videos, which is nice, so I don't have to. And there's little tidbits in the videos. There's little signs of Mental Health Care Administration. Okay. So they give little tidbits of like how they're not really doing that great. Or in the one case when I was watching those one videos, they're like, oh, veganism has helped me a ton because I lost a bunch of weight or my blood pressure went down. It's like, well, probably that's true, but you can have that go down by just not eating junk. And they even mention processed meats. It's like, well, yeah, you're going to get better by not eating that, obviously. So I need to find more of them.
Myself some room and space and time and peace and silence to work, because this is not working for me right now. And I'm getting so frustrated because work is one of the most important things to me. If I don't get work done, I feel I'm not in a good place. But since this is a what I eat in a day video, I want to show you this.
Kombucha?
I don't know if you've heard of it before. You probably have. This is Surf kombucha, which is made by a Norwegian girl and her Portuguese, I believe, boyfriend, or Brazilian boyfriend. I'm not sure. Portuguese. It's supposed to be very, very good for your stomach. I'm not sure quite how it works, but I have a few friends that struggle with stomach pain and just troubles with their stomachs.
Really?
The bacteria in their stomach and stuff, and this
Hmm.
is a very good way of balancing that out. So,
But they all drank it though. Isn't that interesting? She's like, oh.
I drink it, and it helps with my stomach.
But is it a continual thing though? Do you continually have stomach issues? Or does it just help every
Very
time
often.
you have it? Man, what is up with women? Jeez.
If you have food poisoning, drink kombucha. That is some very good advice. Okay, so kombucha, to my understanding, is it's a fermented beverage, usually based off fruity flavors, and it's alcohol. So it's pretty much sugar and alcohol, and there's beneficial bacteria because of the fermentation from the fruit. But in the context of humans,
Will get very easily diluted.
rotten berries here. This is not something that is beneficial to your health in any way, and people can make an argument that it's beneficial for their gut bacteria to swig down some alcohol in the middle of the day, but no, for me, the whole probiotic thing and that, anything that has to do with your gut health is based off of the foods you eat and how that food naturally ferments and goes through your digestive tract. So the initial eating fermented foods has had a place in every single indigenous group, just not fermented fruit. It's been
Not fermented fruit. It's probably fermented vegetables and meats.
It's fermented tea.
looks like
It's not fruit.
and she's eating grass.
Well, it depends on what kombucha she has, right?
Do you want
Yeah,
some
most
kombucha,
of them,
maybe?
it's tea,
So a
and
person
then, yeah, you
does
can
eat
mix it with
grass
a fruit or
to balance
something.
their stomach. I'm not sure if kombucha is good for us. don't give your dog kombucha, please. Are you peeing next?
I'm glad she made that distinction. Please don't feed your dog kombucha.
Just like parading around. Okay, so I'm sitting and working, and I made myself a second bowl because I got hungry. I'm gonna make dinner in a couple of hours, but
She said she's on 4 meals and she's not even dinner
I don't
time.
understand. How obvious does it have to be that you're obviously starving your body of nutrients? Like, at what point do you think I'm hungry every 2 hours? I'm eating massive amounts of food that is not indigenous to my area, and I feel, you know, this obvious health problems just from how she's acting and how she's saying based off of just the small snippets I'm seeing of this video and her eating patterns. It's really it's just, you know, fat soluble vitamin deficiencies are present in pretty much everyone, but once you start taking away core things like B vitamins that are usually consumed in large amounts in the human diet, and just the very high carbohydrate consumption in combination with that, it's very, very cookie cutter pattern we see in what these foods these vegans are eating and what problems they're having.
Round 2. Hey guys, so it's time for dinner. I've been exercising with my brothers and my dog, which was nice, and working my butt off. So now I really need food. What is the time? It's 8 o'clock. And so I'm making, to be honest, I don't feel like making this because I'm so tired and it's a little bit of work, not too much. It's okay, easy to be honest, but compared to just heating up something, it's work. But I'm gonna do it for you guys and for my health because I want to get a lot of stuff in now since I've been exercising. I'm gonna make some kind of a rice bowl with chickpeas, red lentils, mushrooms, spring onions.
Before we go into this meal, I had some insomnia related problems, and I at one point I didn't sleep for like 5 days on this diet that I've been following, and at no point did I have any sudden laziness or lack of energy after not sleeping for 5 days. I might have been a little delusional in forgetting a few things, but at no point in time was I too tired to do something or not willing to do something. So for me, for this girl looks like she had a nice night's sleep. She's been eating plenty all day, and I don't know what to tell you.
Veggies and stuff, and sweet potato, cashew nuts, and I'm gonna add this, my absolute favorite. I think it is my favorite actually. This and curry is my favorite thing. So this is tikka masala sauce. This is by the brand Meridian, and it's free from wheat, gluten, and milk. And it's made with coconut. And if you're in Norway, you can buy it at thinking about it, isn't this the exact same things that I made in my the video where in my Instagram followers decide what I should do in a day? I think I ate pesto pasta for lunch and ate this for dinner. I could be wrong, but I actually think that was it. Here. Okay, so the rice and chickpeas and lentils, they're done. I cooked them in the same pot just because it's easier. So I'm gonna add that tikka masala sauce. I like that sound. This smells so freaking good. And here we have this sad little pot with a few mushrooms and a sweet potato. I'm just gonna chop up some random greens that we have laying around. To be honest, this was really easy to make. Most of the time it's just waiting time, and I spent that watching YouTube videos. And I know I'm very late to the whole YouTube game. I don't like watch a lot of YouTubers, but I just discovered Lily Sings or Superwoman.
Lily Sings?
And I just thought she was genius and
Lily
smart
Sings.
and very reflective. So
I think the rest of YouTube just shits on Lily Sings all the time. Because she's one of those people that I think YouTube is propped up. It's like, hey, Lily Sings, but then people are like, She's super annoying. I don't quite. It depends on what happens when I actually Google her name, right? Don't think that's it.
I thought she said Lily.
Ooh, you're probably right. Ooh, Superwoman. No. Whoa, what's going on here? Is this on Discord? What's up?
I'm fine.
Hello. What's up?
I'm okay.
I feel like you said that last time. I have no idea what it means. Are you going to tell me what it means, or are you just going to keep repeating it and then I'll just be confused forever? What?
Is your Discord set up that anyone can just...
No, that's so now why did he roast Rowdy? Why is this a thing? Why people hate it? This is probably a bad idea.
The following video today is brought to you by Quip. Stay tuned until Lily Singh was one of the most successful female-run accounts on all of YouTube. In recent times, however, it appears that her fame may be going away, and many are cheering for her downfall. So what happened to cause this? Well, to start off, I looked at her stats, and things aren't looking that great for her account. Well, she, of course, is still getting an impressive amount of views each
I mean, that's a ton.
If you look at her subscriber growth, you'll find signs of her account being in the early stages of death. In the last month, she's gotten less than 2,000 followers, which is nothing at all for a channel with 14 million subscribers. This makes it appear that she has stopped growing, and each month is getting worse, so she might be in the red soon enough. In a lot of ways, Lily reminds me of the spot Tyler Oakley found himself in a few years back. They both have young liberal audiences, were adored by the people at YouTube, made connections in traditional show business, had access to celebrities for collabs, and most importantly, we're getting a lot of views and subscribers. If you watch my Tyler Oakley video, you'd know that at a point his subscriber growth started to slow down. Then he started gaining no new subscribers and was just breaking even. Then eventually he started to actively lose 25,000 subs each and every month. He may be the king of dead channels. So why did this happen to Tyler and appear to be starting with Lily? Well, it comes back to one of the characteristics of each of them that I mentioned before. Their young audiences. When running a personality-driven channel, you're reliant on having consistent fan viewership since you're the draw rather than a subject matter like a news report or game review. The problem is, when you have teenage fans like these content creators, your audience will grow up at some point. So the two options are to either mature with your subscribers or connect with the next generation of young people to replace them. Mr. Oakley was unable to do either of these things. I'm not wishing this fate on Lily, nor do I think both of these channel situations are completely the same. But Superwoman is in a very dangerous spot right now. Lily's growth on this website is at a point of stagnation, and while she still does very well for herself, her average viewership on an upload is a fraction of what it was just 2 years ago. More and more of our uploads are having trouble cracking 1 million views, and that's not good.
Wow, 1 million views?
5 million subscribers. Unlike Tyler Oakley and others who won't even address their declining relevance, though, Lily has been more public with her decline. She brought this up in a video in November of 2018 where she announced she was taking a break from YouTube.
Straight up, I haven't been super
I remember this video.
a lot of the content I've created. You know, the thing about YouTube is that in all of its glory, it kind of is a machine, and it makes creators believe that we have to pump out content.
That's right. There's criticism based off of her making this video saying, hey, I'm taking a break from YouTube for mental health reasons, and I'm not doing this to monetize it, but it's like, you're making a video claiming you are. Then again, I don't know how you would temporarily take a break without letting your audiences know, and how that, I think it's like, I don't know, how do you, it's like damn if you do, damn if you don't have a thing.
Because if you don't, then you'll become irrelevant. So I want to take a break to get some of my creative energy back and really think about what I want to do, what direction I want to go.
Creative energy. What is that?
When a YouTuber says they're taking a break, it's only for a couple of months. But this hiatus only lasted 3 weeks before she was back doing tons of video collabs with YouTubers and celebrities alike around Christmas time. I really have to hand it to her. She works very hard if that's her definition of stepping away from the YouTube rat race. At the beginning of 2019, she did announce a new strategy to try to help change the course of her channel. This involved making less rushed videos and instead taking a bit more time with the ones she did make to maximize the quality. While simple, I don't actually think this is a bad plan. Everyone always wants to talk about the effectiveness of daily uploads to help you rise in the algorithm. But that's only the case if people click on those daily videos at the same rate as weekly content. The truth is, more videos often impacts the quality and leads to subscriber fatigue more quickly, which ends up making less people watch you. In theory, this new strategy can help Lily not lose as many subscribers and get more consistent views on each upload. But in practice, has it worked out? Well, the answer is we don't know yet. I'm personally a proponent of the idea that high average video view count is more important than just trying to get as many channel views overall as possible. So since she's focusing more of her time on the best ideas and not producing mediocre video concepts to fill out her schedule, this may lead to less videos not being able to crack a million views. We'll just have to wait and see how things work out. But for the second part of this video,
I think so. I have no idea. I thought he was coming for the stovetop, but Ali said no. I don't know.
But I'll get to that in a minute. Personally, when browsing around, I found that there were a few videos in particular that people really didn't like. These usually involved her spending a ton of time mocking a stupid internet comment from an anonymous person, which I personally do agree is kind of contrived. In one of these, she finds a random tweet from a woman who found gay people gross, I guess. Then she stretched that out into a hypothetical therapy session where the homophobic lady is roasted by her.
So, tell me what's on your mind. Gay people bother me. Is it because they dress better than you?
Oh, my dude, you just got whacked because you didn't see that one so far.
I get what she's trying to go for, but it essentially just comes down to her writing her opponent as a southern-hit strawman to then slam dunk on with cheesy one-liners. It reminds me of those Matt Haas parkour videos where Matt writes himself to be a suave ladies man who always has a quick comeback. In another video, she finds what seems to be a pretty clear troll comment that says a bunch of racist stuff. Then she schools this troll by making a ton of hacky jokes about him living in a trailer and other white trash stereotypes in a video about how stereotypes are ignorant. I don't know how she missed that hypocrisy. What really had my attention, though, and made me want to make this video in the first place is just how many times over the years PewDiePie has come out and publicly mocked Lily in his videos. This happens so often, I wonder if there was some cue behind the scenes that we don't know about.
Lily sings the definition of trying too hard. Built Superman woman would smash with a sledgehammer.
For quite some time, his jabs were usually just a quick remark here or there, like those examples. But at the end of 2018, this feud reached a boiling point when Lily complained that she was no longer one of the best paid YouTubers anymore, and that now the highest earners are currently all men. Felix went all out.
2 years ago, it was almost even between male and female. Last year, it was just me, and this year, there are no females at all. Something I predicted in my Instagram caption last year. I'm concerned the digital space is going to repeat the mistakes of ancient industries. Hope I'm wrong. You know, maybe this is a crazy idea, but maybe you should plan a campaign or something like that to increase your revenue. Something about mental health. And then just come back and sell a bunch of merch afterwards. That would be a great idea. Maybe that will help you earn more revenue. Hey guys, I work too much. I need a break. Buy my hustle merch! Imagine being actually mad about the fact that a 7-year-old made is the most paid YouTuber. I think what's interesting about this whole thing is it's saying that men are being paid more than women in the YouTube space, which is obviously just ridiculous. You don't get paid more or less based on your gender. AdSense pays the same way. If people want to subscribe to you, they generally do it because they enjoy your videos, not because of your gender. That's just ridiculous. But if you start complaining about this, you really just sound like a crybaby.
on those things.
Just in case you weren't sure.
So with all this being said, do I personally feel that Superwoman deserves the hate she receives? Not really. She clearly does some things that seem hypocritical and fake, but that's pretty standard for most of these big mainstream normie creators, so I don't think it's fair to go after her in particular. The fact is simply not doing anything really unethical makes you better than most YouTubers, which then says a lot about this platform. Hey everybody, before I finish this video today, I just want to give a very
This one has so much to teach me, so I'm going to binge watch your videos now while eating this. Let me know, I would be very interested to know your favorite channels, who inspire you, who give you motivation to work hard, follow your dreams and heart and all that. Thank you.
You guys ever watch Frank Tufano's YouTube videos? In regards to that meal with the chickpeas, the rice, the lentils, and then what you have on the side, the sweet potato and the mushrooms. Okay. So obviously those are just complex carbohydrates. At best, maybe the chickpeas are not, but there's no real vitamin content in those foods, and the paper value of those foods is drastically different than what's actually getting absorbed in the body. Because all of those foods
I was
have
thinking
various
about
anti-nutrients,
making
oxalates,
another
fatty
kind of
acids,
thing, but then I'm
especially
like, well, it's got bread. Am I supposed to eat bread? Isn't bread an anti-nutrient?
And the interesting thing about all these vegans that make these dishes, they all have this sauce, and that sauce, whether it's tikka masala, whether it's this tahini sauce, it has this.
And you have two.
I have 2 pots of it.
How in the world did you get it? How did you get up to 2?
I just used all the meat, used all the rutabaga, used all of the bok choy. So
We have a ton of.
it's a little bit, I kind of underestimated how salty the poke was, so it's a bit salty.
Where are you going?
I'm working out.
Oh, good for you. I know it's we're talking about health things and then being fat and everything, and you're just like, we need to get bigger.
Honestly, everything else about like my thoughts that I have in the morning and how I'll be act out.
This morning?
No.
When? Oh,
Just
yeah, we gotta fix that. I'll do that. Okay. So it goes in a bowl, right? Do you use this spoon or? I understand I'm going to have this for the next week, but for breakfast, what? Eggs and what else? Oh, Is that a doggo? Oh man, I almost spilt my thing.
Meat, a salty, fatty, and umami component from fermentation, and that's the only way they can get this food to taste good. It's the only way. They have to add this sauce to it, otherwise it's pretty much inedible. So that salt, sugar, umami flavor that they create artificially through modern plant foods in that sauce is the only reason this food is palatable. The mushrooms, the sweet potato, I got nothing against those foods. It's just, you know, what is sweet potato going to give you? Potassium and energy, and what are mushrooms going to give you? I think mushrooms are very unique in the sense that they have small amounts of certain vitamins, but still, nothing that all her meals throughout today have just been pretty much carbohydrates, anti-nutrients, and possibly adding some like inflammatory plant fats through the nut consumption.
Oh my.
But, you know, surprisingly, this girl has, you know, she's consuming about half her foods. Half her foods are whole foods, plant-based, which is what most vegans would consider good. But like in the first meal, most people would consider that good by vegan standards. The second meal, they might shun away the pasta that she ate, and maybe some vegans would go OCD about the nuts. And then in the third meal, they would pretty much approve everything in the third meal too. So this isn't too far off of what most people would consider a whole foods, plant-based vegan diet, with the exception of maybe the pasta and the nuts and the fat consumption that some vegans are against. But you know, she's not consuming any fat type of vitamins really, so her even consuming fats in this diet, they would probably justify that she didn't need to. So overall, I really don't know what to touch on. I hope this girl, you know, doesn't really impact her health too much anymore. I think she's still got, you know, if she does this for another year or two and then turns things around, I think she'll still be fine. But there's definitely some long-term damage that has been done already, and there's probably some more that could be done over the next few years if she continues this diet. I really hope, you know, her father and her brother and I don't know, maybe she has a boyfriend or trying to talk some, maybe not actually, maybe she has like a vegan boyfriend that got her into this shit. But hopefully someone in her life is trying to talk some sense into her with her diet.
I might just be a normal kid. This is so salty. Oh my. Whew. I don't know if I want to watch this. I get it.
Vegetarian or vegan diet, you're going to see some instant benefits because of the fact that you have much more nutrient-dense foods. You're eating a lot of vegetables. You're changing your diet in a lot of ways that are positive, or towards a positive, away from what you were talking about, those primary foods that Americans tend to eat. All the processed sugar, all the just nonsense, and chicken tenders and all that crap that people eat, which is just so goddamn common, right? So automatically over that, you're going to see some long-term benefits. But one of the things that I've been reading is about people that have found that over the long term, the lack, this is contrary to what a lot of people think, lack of saturated fat and cholesterol, dietary cholesterol and saturated fat, leads to hormonal imbalances, leads to your body having a harder time producing sex hormones, and all these different issues with your health, where your body almost starts robbing itself to make up for the nutritional deficiencies of your diet.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this before, but humans are animals. You know, we're omnivores. And
wait a minute, I saw a video on YouTube. There's a guy that says there's no way that we are herbivores, and then if we are some fucking wacky dude saying that if you're really an omnivore, you should be able to eat a squirrel, just grab it and eat it raw. There's the most bizarre.
There's some strange arguments out
there.
Like we shouldn't drink milk because we're the only we're the only animal in nature that drinks the milk of another animal. Yeah, well, we're the only animal in nature that uses iPhones too.
I have a whole bit about that. It's hilarious you said that. Yeah, what else do only people do? Fly planes, make movies, call each other on the phone, and tell each other how awesome milk is.
It's a ridiculous argument. But, so yeah, getting back to
they're ideological arguments more than scientific.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that doesn't stand up to scrutiny. But with the vegetarian or vegan diet, so there's lots of different ways to look at this. So starting with an evolutionary perspective, which I was getting at, omnivores are opportunistic. They will eat whatever is available, and they'll eat the most nutrient-dense foods that are available if they have a choice. And that's just, again, that's survival. You know, an animal that is able to utilize the nutrients that are available in its environment to its maximal advantage is going to survive compared to one that doesn't. That's basic evolutionary theory. So if you study traditional peoples, as far as I know, still there's never been a traditional group that has ever been identified that voluntarily followed a vegan or even vegetarian diet that I know of. So that should tell you something right there. And ironically, the fact that you and I are even having this conversation, this wouldn't even be happening if humans had not learned to eat meat, basically. There are a lot of anthropologists who now believe that eating meat was essentially what made us human. You know, we came down out of the trees, and we developed the development of tools that could crack bones to give us access to the marrow, which is super nutrient dense, or to slice meat, which allowed us to be able to digest the meat more quickly. Number one, and then two, the development of fire, which allowed us to cook meat, and cooking makes the nutrients in meat more bioavailable, allowed us to spend less time foraging for food. So most large primates, like gorillas or chimpanzees, spend over 80% of their day foraging for food, because most of the foods they eat are really not nutrient dense. So they have to eat a boatload of stuff and just sit there and chew on the plants all day to get enough nutrients. And so this evolutionary theory is that we learn to extract and harvest much more nutrient-dense foods from animals, fats, and other nutrients in the meats and organ meats, and we could then spend a lot less of our time going around getting food, which allowed us and then develop bigger brains and become human and have this conversation where we're talking about vegetarian and vegan diets.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting. And it's also important to differentiate the difference between what you're saying is essentially the science behind the development of the human animal versus the moral and ethical debates that lead people to become environmental debates, which is also moral.
Right? We can talk about that too.
Which is what influences people to become vegetarians and vegans, which I totally respect. I understand what they're saying. The real problem is when they distort the reality of the scientific findings of the human animal and diet. And that's an issue with a lot of people that are vegetarians and vegans that go on about how healthy they feel and about how awesome, but they're not doing blood lipid profiles. And when they do, like Sam Harris, who is, for ethical perspective, for ethical reasons, has tried a vegan diet, and his health is suffering. He's having real issues with his blood lipids. What can someone do if they want to follow that diet? Like, what is imperative as far as healthy fats, as far as making sure
that's so salty.
You're not not taking too many simple carbohydrates? Like, what steps need to be taking place? This is obviously not saying that you shouldn't follow a vegan diet, or shouldn't follow a vegetarian diet. You should do whatever you want to do, but there's got to be some ways to mitigate some of the health consequences, right?
Yeah, there are, and I believe that. I agree with you that people should be free to make their own choices. I've never pushed a particular diet. You know, people sometimes ask me, how do you convince someone to go paleo? I say, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't spend my time doing that. If someone wants my advice and asks me, I'll give it to them, but I'm not going around, you know, proselytizing for a particular way of eating. So yeah, let's break this down. We talked about the evolutionary argument for eating animal products. Then there's a scientific argument, which now is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
The issue with, and we should even kind of distinguish between vegetarian and vegan diets, because they're actually quite different. And I think it is possible for some people to be healthy with a vegetarian, diet. I think it's a lot less likely with a vegan diet. And I guess I would say it this way. If you're a vegan and you're eating a vegan diet, you need to have a perfect vegan diet to be healthy, and you need to know what you're doing in terms of supplementation and how to meet the nutrient needs that aren't being met through diet. And it's, at least in my experience, there are very few that actually do it right. When it's done right, I think it's possible for some people to be healthy and thrive, and that's obvious because there are people like Rich Roll, who's like out there, he's a vegan triathlete, he's out there, doing centuries and killing it.
Yeah,
like,
ultramarathons.
Yeah, he is just an amazing athlete, and he's vegan, and so, you can't say that it's not working for him.
Right.
If you try to say that, you're going to...
He also looks like he's 30. He's older than me. He's like,
yeah,
he's 30.
He's a great guy. I've met him a couple of times. So certainly it works for some people, but there are a lot of factors that determine whether it's going to work. So one is how well you do it. Two is whether you know what you're doing with supplementation in terms of getting the necessary nutrients. Three is genetics. So there are genetic differences that determine how well we convert precursor nutrients into the nutrients that we actually need. Let me give 3 examples to make this more real. So one is EPA and DHA. These are these long-chain omega-3 fats that we've heard so much about that are crucial for brain function, cardiovascular function, etc. And primarily you get them by eating fish. There are no sources of those in a plant-based diet, except for algae.
And algae's not that bioavailable, right?
No, and how many people do you know that eat algae? I don't know very many.
Well, you can. What's that?
You can.
There's that famous green supplementation stuff.
Yeah, okay, you can use it as a supplement, but very few people are eating it. So, but there is something called alpha-linolenic acid, which is in walnuts and flaxseed. That's an omega-3 plant fat. And humans, in theory, can convert some of that plant-based omega-3 into this long-chain EPA and DHA that we need. But here's the thing. Only about 5 to 10% of that gets converted into EPA, and even less to DHA, like 2 to 5%. So you have to be chugging tablespoons of flax oil in order to get as much EPA or DHA that you would get from eating just a little bit of fish. And that's if everything is going well. Because if you have deficiency of any nutrients that are involved in the enzymatic conversion of those plant-based fats into the long-chain fats, then you won't make those conversions at that optimal rate. It'll be even less. And ironically, many of those nutrients are nutrients that are not well represented in a vegan or vegetarian diet. So that's one example. Another would be vitamin
How far back
K2,
can I go?
which is a
Jagging to bed. I missed the last 40 minutes. It's fine, dude. I was just making a mistake.
For cardiovascular and bone health, it basically makes sure that
how far back can I go?
Our bones and our teeth and our hard tissue where it belongs, and keeps it out of the soft tissues like our arteries, where calcium would make our arteries hard and increase the risk of a heart attack. So K2 is only really in animal foods, with the exception of...
So that is very salty.
Like natto, which is
and I was biting fish bone. There's lots of little sharp of fish bones. Gotta be real careful with that one.
Sauerkraut and kimchi have K2 in it.
Is that how you say it? Kefir? I've been saying kefir my whole life.
That's how it's said.
I've never heard it said.
That's how they say it where kefir is from.
Ah, well,
but every other person I've ever met says kefir, so don't worry about it.
Kefir. Saying kefir from now. Orange kefir.
You'll be in the select few.
I'd love to be in the select few. I feel good about it already.
So, yes, you can feel superior now.
Well, can I stop you real quick?
Yeah.
Just
Maybe the
because
one in the
I want to get a little bit
crock-pot is better.
onto this track of what you were describing about
Yeah.
fish oil and the
Right.
conversion, and the difference between flaxseed oil.
Yeah.
What can vegans take in order to sort of?
I recommend that vegans take microalgae because it has preformed DHA in it. So you bypass that whole conversion issue.
And if they do take microalgae, is that sufficient, or
How much do you charge to draw me something?
Well,
Ooh. Depends. Depends on the amount of detail you want. It can probably range anywhere from $20 to maybe 55.
I like how everyone has to draw the dog.
Puppies, huh? And this is nothing sexual, right? Just to be clear. And yes, I can draw dogs. Of course, when people ask for that, dude. Do I have a picture of it? I did this thing where this guy wanted me to draw a owl giving birth to a human, and he wanted some other, I don't know, funky stuff.
You just drew some puppies. You can show them that one.
What? I drew puppies?
Yeah, the concept art, remember? For those?
Yes. Let's see. This one's titled Animal Practice. What's actually in here? Disaster. Let's see. So here's some dogs. These two dogs came out well. Here it is, right there. I don't know why he wanted this one, but this is what the guy's into, I guess.
It's more it's like shitting on a person.
Basically, but that's why I added the umbilical cord, so people won't get confused.
Because fish have a lot of other nutrients.
And basically, pregnancy is like a giant bowel movement.
They have selenium. They have a lot of other bioavailable nutrients. And the other disadvantage is you have to take a boatload of algae supplements.
What's a boatload? Give me a coffee cup.
No, I mean I think so. They're different products have different amounts, but I think you'd have to take 6 to 9 capsules a day of the average algae supplement in order to meet your DHA.
That's
needs.
not bad. That could be done.
It's absolutely possible.
But that would be a good way to be healthy with the vegan diet.
That would be one way to address the shortcoming of lack of DHA on the vegan diet.
Okay.
There are other shortcomings, other nutrients like B12, which that's a big issue, and vegans need to be supplementing with that. There's a myth out there that there are some plant sources of B12 like seaweed and spirulina and nutritional yeast, but those actually contain kind of phony forms of B12.
Interesting. Remember that one black guy was saying, "Hey, you know, vegetables. I'm beginning of B12 through vitamins or through vegetables." He says that you can get B12 through there. This guy says you can't.
That can block the absorption of true B12, which is only found in animal products or supplements. So a B12 supplement would be really important as well.
And what's the source of a B12 supplement? It's synthetic?
It's synthetic, I think, but there's 3 forms of B12. There's hydroxycobalamin and methylcobalamin, or 4 forms that you can supplement with: cyanocobalamin and diacylcobalamin. And the cyanocobalamin is a synthetic form, and then the other ones are natural forms of B12 that you would encounter in food. So people can supplement with any of those. The natural forms are better to supplement with because they're more bioavailable. But definitely, if a vegan, I would recommend supplementing with B12 because there aren't any sources of it in the diet. And studies have shown that 68% of vegetarians are deficient in B12, 83% of vegans are, versus just 5% of omnivores.
Wow.
So it's a big difference. We're not,
And that's a factor in many different issues, right? It's a factor in the production of muscle.
Yeah, all production of all red blood cells depends on B12 and folate, and so that's pretty fundamental, right?
Yeah.
And then the myelin sheath requires B12, and this is why B12 deficiency can mimic the signs of Parkinson's or Alzheimer's disease in people who are aging. B12 deficiency happens in elderly people not because they're on a vegan diet, because they have low stomach acid and they don't absorb the B12 as well as we do when we're younger. And so a lot of people who are elderly who have symptoms of like Parkinson's or Alzheimer's, they can sometimes be misdiagnosed with these conditions when they're actually just B12 deficient. So it's a really important nutrient.
Now, how can vegans be assured that the B12 that they're buying does not have animal products?
Yeah.
Or do they have B12 when you buy
like right now?
Typically,
it's usually synthetic.
Looks like that. Which
which
isn't too bad right now. I'm just getting basic values.
What does that mean? What's the difference? That's deep.
Lighting.
You went deep. Macrobiotic vegan. It's like a vegan of macramaze.
I mean, macrobiotics is a whole other system of way of looking at food. It's the Japanese approach, and the whole reason I came to do what I'm doing now is I got really, really sick in my 20s. I almost died, and I spent about 10 years just trying to get back to health.
And what did you get sick from?
I was in Indonesia. I mentioned earlier I traveled around the world, and I was surfing, and I got the classic tropical illness, like amoebic dysentery, giardia, and blastocystis hominis, so 2 parasites and an amoeba, and was just, coming out of both ends, delirious, didn't remember really anything for 3 days. Luckily, there was one other Australian guy in the village that I was...
Your mom sent you a text.
...in his medical kit that kind of...
Yeah, she said she's going to message you.
But between the parasites and then the multiple rounds of antibiotics I had to take to get rid of the parasites after that, it just wreaked havoc on my gut. It took me basically 10 years to recover. Yeah.
10 years?
10 years. It was
with
like
her account or yours?
Now, was it 10 years because you approached it incorrectly and you could do it better now, or was it just such a devastating round of disease that...
I think a little of both. I mean, so I'm 42 now, and I was 25 when this first happened, and we didn't know anything about the gut and the microbiome.
Basically, like this guy on Twitter is saying that if not for women and children, men have no motivation to do anything at all, and that men are beasts of burden. And this guy commented, it's like, if it wasn't for women, I'd surf every morning, do jujitsu every afternoon, and bartend a few nights a week while carrying my camera around all day.
So he's agreeing with them?
Yeah, but just ironic because he's like, oh, just running around the world surfing.
I mean, well, that's what it is. Like, guys, like, I've heard before, guys don't care how big of a place they have. They do it because they know women care. So they want to try and get...
Right, but I don't think that's true for all men.
Right. I'm sure some guys, they do want it.
It's basically the 80-20 rule.
Right. Now, is it...
So yeah, maybe 80% of men are lazy. But that doesn't mean that society isn't run by men for their own...
Because, of course, the minority produces enough for the majority. So I was thinking, was you kind of cartooning the pups from a picture I have? Okay, so you're talking about simple colors, cartoon style, so not realistic. Do you have on a Discord? You can send the picture, and I can take a look at it. Give you a quote. Now, how am I actually going to make this look without lines? When was the last time I did this?
15 years, it's just, or 20 years, it's crazy. So, I took way more antibiotics than I would have done in retrospect, because that's what the doctors were prescribing and saying, look, you've got these parasites, we've got to get rid of them, this is how you do it, and I think the antibiotics, it could have been, like, the treatment was probably worse than the disease for me, after the number of courses of antibiotics that I took.
Wow.
So along that path, I tried just about every special diet you can possibly imagine, including becoming a vegetarian and a vegan, and then a macrobiotic vegan, and a raw food vegan. I've been there, done that, and so I'm completely sympathetic, to all. And I'm also a long-time meditator and Buddhist, so I understand the ethical argument very well. Many of my friends don't eat meat. I'm sympathetic. I care about the environment. I'm sympathetic to that argument. I'm certainly not, I'm coming to this from a place of, I think, a pretty balanced viewpoint. The issues, for me, the reason why I eventually brought animal products back into my diet was that it became clear that I needed to do that for my own health, and I was able to reach a level of understanding and about the moral, ethical, and environmental choices that I was making that I felt good about. I want to go back to something you were saying about vegans and vegetarians and how to kind of optimize if you're doing that diet. So two things that I wanted to address. One was you asked about mollusks. And
Yes.
I've actually argued that a vegetarian diet with shellfish and organ meats would be better than a paleo diet with no shellfish and organ meats.
Interesting.
And that's because
she wants your information?
Muscle meats, organ meats, and shellfish are the two most nutrient dense classes of foods. Like I've just been finishing the curriculum for my clinician training program, where I'm going through systematically every nutrient, and I'm looking at.
She's going to add you to that system she's got where the music plays whenever it goes to a new area.
I wish I had the thing to just lay it out and show you, but in almost every case, it's an organ meat or a shellfish that's the highest source of that, whether you're talking about B12 or iron or copper or zinc or folate. It's always beef liver, chicken liver, clams, oysters, etc. And so if someone was a vegetarian who's willing to fudge a little bit and eat just organ meats and shellfish, I think that would be a healthier approach than someone who's just eating lean muscle meat.
Organs get tossed out a lot. It's a real problem in the hunting world, where when people gut an animal, they leave the gut pile. And there's even a gutless method that a lot of people use when they take on a big game animal like an elk or something like that. They leave it behind. They leave the heart, they leave the liver. But I saw this documentary on wolves. And what was really fascinating was one of the ways that they distinguish who the alpha is in the wolf pack is the alpha wolf is the one who eats the liver.
Eats the liver.
Yeah, fascinating.
Yeah, there are other animals that's true with.
Yeah.
And I think that was true in hunter-gatherer societies as well.
And someone was trying to say to me, well, livers process toxins. Don't you think they'd be filled with toxins?
That's a common misconception. The liver processes...
Literally all my coworkers say that. All my coworkers are like, the spleen, that it all has toxins in it. You can't actually have that. That's what they all say.
don't you think they'd be filled with toxins?
That's a common misconception. The liver processes them, but the fat stores them. So if you're concerned about toxins in food, you should make sure that you're eating, pasture-raised organic fats like butter and cream and things. You eat dairy products, animal fats,
Grass-fed
butter.
milk.
If you eat lard or tallow or anything like that, it should come from pasture-raised animals because the fat is where toxins are stored. The liver processes them.
So when you're, I'm sorry to interrupt you, so when you're eating anything that comes from an animal that's been fed grain, you're dealing with an animal that has the same sort of inflammation issues that a person has from processing things that it's not naturally supposed to process, like processed wheat.
Wait,
and
why do you have to do this?
Flour and pesticides, chemicals, antibiotic residue.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you're taking in those animal products that we traditionally do, whether it's butter or milk or dairy or cheese or things along those lines, when you're taking in those from an animal that's eating grain, you are actually getting fats. So it's less healthy.
Option? I'm pretty sure if you have to buy the cap and gown.
It may be. I mean, the liver is more nutrient dense anyways, but pasture-raised
why don't they supply that?
Have a lot more nutrients than conventionally raised fats because the animals are eating grass, and grass is way more nutrient dense than the grains that conventional animals are fed.
Also, the omega-3s and 6s are different.
Yeah, the ratio, the omega-6 is the same, but omega-3 is 3 or 4 times higher in pasture-raised animals.
Why is omega-6 higher?
It's a good question. It used to be, the kind of consensus was that omega-6s would be higher and omega-3s would be lower, but it actually looks like omega-6 is constant and omega-3 is higher. The omega-3 is higher because the grass probably has more alpha-linolenic acid, which is the plant-based form that the animal does the conversion. I mean, that's the thing that's really interesting to consider here too, is humans are really inefficient at making these conversions of these less active nutrients to the more active ones. We started to talk about it with EPA and DHA. Vitamin K1 is what's converted into K2. Cows are experts at doing that. They're really good at it. Humans, not so much. So when we eat the animal's basically done the work for us. We get the preformed final nutrient that we need rather than having to do those steps ourselves.
And this is sorry to interrupt you. Is this a function of the adaptation of people developing while eating these animals?
I think so. Yeah. Beta carotene is another example. That's a precursor to active vitamin A or retinol. And beta carotenes have some benefits in our bodies, but retinol is the real thing. What we need more than anything. And that conversion is as low as 3 to 5% in some people. And in fact, there are some who don't make the conversion at all. And those are the people who turn orange after a carrot juice fast. Have you ever seen anyone with like the orange palms? But it happens.
My friend Andy used to drink so much carrot juice that the inside of his hands and his skin would turn orange.
Yeah, so
that's
he
carrots.
Wasn't good at converting beta carotene into retinol.
He needs to
be able to do that, but some people can't.
But isn't just the mass quantities?
It could, yeah. I mean, it could be that too. But the retinol is only really present in organ meats and pasture-raised fats. It's not even really in muscle meats like lean ground beef or chicken breast, boneless chicken breast. Or so in order to get retinol, we need to consume these pasture-raised fats, or we need to consume organ meats. And as you pointed out, organ meats have really fallen out of favor in the U.S. And this is only recent. Like I bet you our grandparents ate a lot more organ meats than we eat. Still in some many parts of the world, they still eat organ meats more than we do. Yeah,
liver and onions is a very famous dish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, beef heart, and so you'll see like within the paleo primal kind of world, the organ meats are making a comeback because we understand now what the nutrient density of these foods is, and there's less now even in the mainstream world. There's less of a solid argument that can be made about these having cholesterol or high levels of saturated fat that would prevent us from eating them.
Now, what would be the difference in terms of the nutritional density of mollusks versus organ meat? So, like, if you had a vegetarian or a vegan who's on the fence, and you made these arguments that are very rational and logical, and you said, look, mollusks are essentially a very, very primitive form of life that doesn't feel pain. And you could argue that there's more evidence that some plants feel pain, and plants also have some very intense level of communication where there's a really interesting edition of Radiolab recently, where they went into this, where they sort of are trying to understand the difference between not the difference rather, but the complicated relationship between these different plants and the mycelium in the soil and all the different fungus in the soil that also acts as sort of a transportation method for various nutrients and minerals. And they're actually pulling these minerals out of the rock, and they're getting sugars from the plants and they're exchanging them for minerals, and that there's this really complex interaction that we have sort of just looked at and said, oh, there's dirt and there's plants in it. But there's a lot going on between these various life forms, and one of them being fungus, which again is closer to an animal than it is to a plant, but is imperative for the life of these plants. And then somehow or another they're actually even sharing resources, where if they find
my tablet just broke.
They're allotting resources to certain plants that are more deficient, or they're trying to channel resources to
Wants to take
so
off.
there's some form of communication and exchange here.
Yeah, that's intelligence right there. I mean, Paul Stamets has done amazing work on mushroom fungus in general. Yeah, I would say that that's a really good option. I mean, when you look at nutrients, like specific nutrients, it goes back and forth between liver and organ meats and shellfish. And some nutrients, organ meats are higher, like vitamin A or iron. And other nutrients, shellfish are generally higher, like with zinc or copper. But certainly, even shellfish are higher in almost all of the key nutrients that we need than a lot of the plant-based food alternatives that they would be choosing from. And so if a vegan was willing to eat mollusks, I would say that would be a great idea. And the benefit there is you don't need to eat a lot. Like 3 ounces, a single serving, can meet your copper requirement for the entire week.
Oh wow!
Just one time.
So that's the thing I was thinking. Having like that list I sent you, have like, since those things are all nutrient dense, like we will about just one of these items a week, so it's not like overly expensive.
You have a serving of clams once a week, and you have a serving of oysters once a week. On top of getting as much nutrient density as you can. That's B12, that's iron, that's zinc, that's copper, EPA and DHA. The long-chain omega-3 fats are in these mollusks as well, and they're typically low on the toxicity scale too. They don't tend to have a lot of mercury. They don't bioaccumulate a lot of toxins compared to some other predator species of fish that are higher in the food chain that accumulate a lot of toxins.
Is there any benefit to eating them cooked versus raw, one way or the other?
Well, there is the chance of disease in eating raw oysters. I think it's pretty minimal compared to some other risks, but it is there, and cooking mitigates that definitely. I think in general, cooking makes the nutrients in meat and animal products more bioavailable rather than less. And that's in vegetables. It depends on the vegetable and the method of cooking, but it's a mix. It's more of a mixed bag. But in meats, it generally improves the bioavailability.
So it really is, in a lot of ways, an ideological issue where it's sort of framed that you don't want to contribute to suffering. But these things really don't suffer.
But even there, as we talked about,
you're going to contribute
to suffering, and potentially more if you're looking on the scale of individual lives. And it might sound like this is nitpicky, but it's not. We're talking about actual lives, and then you have to start evaluating, like, is a cow more sentient or worth, the life of a cow worth more than the life of a rabbit or a vole, or the kind of animals that are being killed in the production of these plant foods? It's a real question.
Process, I believe, because things are meant to get hard after they come out of heaven. And it didn't exactly. It's like watching porn. You get hard fast.
You're eating some mush that doesn't turn into mold.
I went vegan post heart attack, but it's not a ethical thing. Like my kid's vegan because she's like, I love animals. But I went vegan because they were like, if you go plant-based, you've got a really great chance of dropping your cholesterol. And my kid had been bugging me to go vegan for like 3 years and stuff. And but honestly, not bugging me. She would just make comments every once in a while. Not your mom, not your milk. Whenever I was drinking milk. So after the heart attack, nutritionist was in the hospital room with me going like, 100% blockage, man. You definitely time to change your diet. I was like, yeah, you're right. And
what were you eating before?
Like just fucking, not even like
But
everything.
you lost a lot of weight. And when you lost a lot of weight, I remember you were doing a lot of juicing.
Yeah, I was doing a bit of that, which
vegetable juices.
They've since told me is not good because you're supposed to distribute the juice of whatever with the fiber while eating the fruit and stuff. This juicing thing is.
So it depends on what juice. I mean, vegetable juice is not really an issue, but
with
it is
things
high
with a lot of sugar
content.
in it. Yeah, like I'm part of. Now I'm a Weight Watchers ambassador.
Even people that believe that like they like vegetable juices, they say that you're really better off with like a vegetable smoothie.
Right.
Like where you get the fiber.
It is all about the smoothie.
Yeah.
Keep some of the fiber in it.
Keep
In the
all
Weight
of it,
Watchers
throw the
diet,
whole
they got
celery
these.
and all that jazz.
You go by points and shit like that.
Right.
Some shit, like you can, if you eat a banana, no points. If you juice a banana or blend a banana, then it has points because then it's no longer about the fiber, it's all about the sugar.
Eggs don't have any points anymore, huh?
No, they took points away from like eggs, turkey, and chicken, which broke my heart because I used to love turkey and chicken. Then I realized I didn't love turkey and chicken as much as I thought. Like I went on, in order to, after the heart attack, I read, well, I listened to it on tape. And not on tape, visually. And Gillette's book, Presto, on how he lost 100 pounds after his heart. And it's a fantastic book. I'm sure
Did
you
you
know
ever
Penn.
had a similar issue, like a heart attack?
Yeah, but he didn't have a heart attack. They were like, you're on the fucking verge. And they were going to give him a bunch of bypasses. And then a friend of his was like, instead of all that, why don't you just try eating radically different? I could propose a way for you. Ray Cronin. So he has a diet called Just Size. And so in Penn's book, Presto, he details how Ray was like, for the first 2 weeks, just eat potatoes. Nothing but potatoes. You eat as many as you want. Eat as many fucking potatoes as you want. You can't put anything on them. You can't fry them. It's just baked potato.
So maybe I need to go vegan.
Eat
Get my energy back.
You can have 9 if you're in a sitting, but you can't put any butter on them, no salt, nothing. Just flat out potatoes. So it's, but for me, that sounded. For me,
your diet.
Well, I just come off the heart attack, so I'm like, I'd rather not die.
Right.
So I'll fucking try.
So how many weeks did you eat just potatoes?
2 weeks, straight up
whole
just
weeks.
potatoes.
Did you eat them raw?
Not raw, like uncooked. You can bake them, but you can't use anything to cook them. You can't wrap them in tin foil with butter and salt or anything like that. Just flat up
You just
plain.
baked them and then ate them. You must have been bored as fuck.
That's what happens. The trick of the diet, at least in my estimation, is that you're allowed to eat as many potatoes as you want. And you think you like potatoes. When I was reading Penn's book, or rather listening to Penn's book, I was like, oh my god, I can do that. Like, I fucking dig potatoes. And then you realize you don't like potatoes as much as you like butter and salt and milk and everything that goes into like mashed potatoes and stuff. So it's, in the beginning, there's a sense of satiety because potatoes have some growth to them and stuff. But they're mostly water, so it's an excellent diuretic, so you're pissing like a fucking racehorse, and that's dropping weight, like the more water out of your body.
Some good vitamins in the skin as well.
Absolutely.
A lot of potassium, right?
But some
Vitamin
people,
C.
like when I was telling them, you know, the moment you tell people what you're doing, you know, everyone's got like fucking advice about how to diet and shit. And when I was talking about, I'm doing this potato diet, but you can't eat potatoes. It's carbs, man. That's too much. It's bad and shit. But in 2 weeks of eating nothing but potatoes, I lost 19 pounds. Just like
19 pounds.
just dropped off. A lot of it water weight, absolutely. But at the same time, it taught me something more important than like, fuck, I hate potatoes. It taught me to fast. Like, it taught me to, like, now I eat a meal a day. I don't eat in the morning when I get up. I don't listen to propaganda of, like, you gotta eat a breakfast and shit like that. Not at all. My body has enough stored energy. I don't need to fucking eat eggs and orange juice in order to fucking feel good in the morning. I just have to wait for my body to be like, nothing's coming in, great, we'll hook over to the fucking stored energy and shit like that. And I got a lot of it.
So you doing like intermittent fasting? Is that what you're doing?
It's not so much intermittent. It's like I eat once a day, and then some days if I'm like, hey, I don't feel the need to eat, like you go through it. You hit a wall every once in a while. Like generally about 9 o'clock, 8:39, I get a first pang of hunger, and my instincts are like, fucking quick, fix it. And then I remember like just in 10 minutes it's gonna pass, and then in 10 minutes absolutely it
You're
passes.
talking about 9 in the morning?
Yeah.
So you're eating one meal, like typically dinner.
Generally about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
And then you go a long time before you eat again.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the way to eat, man. A lot of people think that's the way to eat.
I think so. Smarter people than I, like Ray, who created the Just Sides diet, and Penn, who followed the diet and stuff.
They do the same thing, 1 meal a day?
Penn, not. I can't. I'm trying to. I don't think he's down to 1 meal a day. I think he just eats better than I do. Like, he was able to keep up with Ray's diet. I couldn't. After the 2 weeks, it was like, okay, now eat corn. And I was like, I've never eaten corn in my life.
Wait a minute. He's telling you just eat corn?
No, he was saying to add corn to the diet. And they were adding more things after the first 2 weeks. It wasn't like potatoes, now just corn. Now
so this Just Sides, that's his hook, is that you're eating the sides?
Essentially, you're eating everything that's kind of, it's all plant-based and stuff. And so I was hoping that I could, fucking go the distance and be a vegetable guy. I fucking hate vegetables. And so I had to figure out a way to be vegan.
Fucking hate vegetables?
Hate it so much.
How can you be a vegan and hate vegetables?
You find a very thin corridor in which, to live and exist.
Scooping up vats of tofu.
Pretty much. Eating pinto beans, eating black beans.
Good source of carbohydrates.
Right. What else? You know what I've fallen in love with and never ate before in my life? Are chickpeas.
Chickpeas are great.
Such a great go-to snack. Fucking full of protein. And in vegan comfort food cooking, they use it as a versatile ingredient. So like if you go to one of my favorite restaurants in town, is Crossroads, they got like this, they got real
That's
vegan
Travis
food.
Barker's place, right?
Is that the?
I believe it is. I believe Travis Barker, the drummer,
that's his place?
I believe so. Pretty sure.
Fucking, they got a meatball sub there, dude. I'd suck a dick for it. So fucking good.
It's supposed
and
to be
mercifully, they don't make you do that. They just make you pay.
That's very sweet of them.
It's a good business model.
It's supposed to be a very good place. Like
It is
one of the best
fucking
vegan places
fantastic.
in town.
This
Is that
meatball
it?
sub
Travis's place?
tastes exactly like
There's
a
a
meatball
place
sub.
about 5 miles from here, maybe a little bit more, called Follow Your Heart. Have you ever been to that place?
Yes, I have. That's where I
Really
met
good, too.
Ray to talk about the diet.
Yeah, they have some killer fucking pancakes, man. I don't know what they're doing, what kind of voodoo they're doing to make a vegan pancake taste that good.
In New York, they got a place in Brooklyn called Champ's Diner, which is also like all plant-based vegan food, but they do comfort food. Like like you can get an Impossible Burger or Beyond Burger, or like you're eating meatballs, and you think about it, you're like, all right, the bread is most of it, the sauce is the next biggest part, and meatballs themselves aren't really that packed with meat. It's much more breading than fucking meat and stuff. So all you have to do is find something that'll stand in for the fucking meat, drench it in fucking marinara sauce, and put it in a nice soft roll. And they use like ricotta, like cashew ricotta, to like kind of finish it off. It is fucking bliss, dude. Now, it's just like, it's vegan comfort food, so you can't do that every day.
Right.
But it's nice to know that if you're ever like, I miss real fucking food, I want to eat a goddamn animal, they can hand you something that's like close to the approximate. Now, the good news, because I know a lot of people are like, fuck veganism, and you're absolutely right. It's no damn fun, for me at least. But after a month of plant-based, I was on a series of medications after the heart attack, and still am. And it was on a full dose of Lipitor, which is the, cholesterol fucking cutter and stuff like that. So my doctor, I was telling him about this potato diet, and he's like, I don't trust this. He's going, I want to do labs. I want to do meds. Give me some of your blood. So he takes me, he's like, I gotta make sure you're getting all the nutrition. He's like, you can't get it all from the fucking potato, I'm sorry. So he did my labs, and came back, and he was like, you're fantastic. He's going, nutrients-wise, you're great. Everything just across the board is great except your cholesterol. I was like, well, I did just have a heart attack. And he goes, no, your cholesterol's in the toilet. He's going, so I need you to break your Lipitor in half. He's going, you can't take that much Lipitor anymore. So he's like, what have you done different? I was like, I'm just eating fucking potatoes.
So your cholesterol dropped so radically that he was worried?
Yeah, and enough to take me off of my half my prescription.
I don't understand enough about cholesterol levels.
This is what they told
There's
me
so
recently
much
that I
debate
found
about it.
fascinating. I was like, so it's Lipitor, it's going to eat up the cholesterol? He goes, no, it's in your system forever. And I was like, really? And he goes, yeah, it can loosen it up and move it about. But then we have to be careful, make sure it's loose and soft and globular.
The cholesterol's in
so
your
that
system
it doesn't
forever.
go into your fucking brain. If hard pieces. Like, I don't know if you ever pull like fucking grit off your teeth after you've eaten or something like that, compacted. That's plaque, technically, I guess. But that's the kind of shit that's up in your veins. When that shit gets hard, it gets super hard. Like the cholesterol that was blocking up my LAD, my man had to drill through it to get the stent in there.
And you keep that cholesterol forever?
Now, I can't say that 100%. That's the way it was communicated to me, because I thought, I was like, this magic drug will eat up the cholesterol. He goes, no, we have to be very careful with the cholesterol because it moves throughout your system. So I guess maybe eventually it moves out of your system, but if it's in your blood system, right, there's a chance that it goes up near your brain eventually. So maybe that's what they're trying to keep that shit.
Idiots talking about medical stuff.
I know, but
We
that's
should
what
really
it's all
stop
about
right now.
You can't be an expert on everything, Joe. Sometimes you have to like take shots in the dark.
Yeah. So
You know your audience. You know the audience is sitting there right now going like, this irritates me. If they're not going to speak truths and hard facts,
don't they understand medical science?
we don't.
We don't.
That's why we want you to.
But when you are, or you're getting a full blood panel done and all these different things, you're checking all your
I've
vitamin
also
levels.
become, and I've become the guy that does
with algae.
Not algae, but there's two
B12.
pills that this Ray turned me on to this doctor. I bet you know his name, but this name escapes me. Who formulated this? These are the nutrients you need. I guarantee you probably talked to this guy. His name escapes me. But Ray was like, get these supplements. They'll cover everything. He's going, because you're no longer a meat eater. Anything you need that would come out of meat comes out of this. But, you know, it was kind of explained to me when I was like, I don't know. Like, my kid was going, you could do it, Dad. And my kiddo, like, we were raised differently. Like, granted, I wasn't raised with filet mignon. I did eat steak through most of my childhood, but it's kind of a meat. Like, it's tough to separate from something that you've lived with for so fucking long. And she was like, you gave up cigarettes? And I was like, oh, all right, whatever. So it's nice to be able to go to places where you can eat food that's not just like grass and fruits and kale and shit like that.
What did you eliminate? This is what I want to concentrate on because I
cheese, dairy, all dairy. So cheese, milk. I was drinking, no bullshit, 2 gallons of milk a day. So that one, yeah, might have been part of the reason I wound up having a fucking heart attack. So milk went away, cheese went away, animal food products went away. So no burgers. I wasn't a big burger guy, but I did like burgers.
What about bread, pasta?
Bread can stay. Pasta can stay. Pasta can be vegan, but I mean, you shouldn't overdo it, right? You can't eat a fuck ton of bread and stuff.
Right, you shouldn't. No, so that shit just.
And honestly, they prefer it when away. Like
Yeah.
most doctors aren't like, hey man, eat all the bread you want. But you know, it's as part of Weight Watchers, it has a value to it that you can eat bread, but it takes up like a quarter of the points you can have.
Is it harder to do Weight Watchers as a vegan? Is it tricky?
No, interestingly enough, Weight Watchers is so fucking simple because the app, it's all app based now. Like I was part of it when I was a kid, like at age 14, I was part of Weight Watchers, and I was like the lone male in the group and stuff. Now it's so technologically based
Who starts Weight
that
Watchers when
if
you're
you're in a
14?
food store and you're like, oh,
Who knows?
but I wonder how many points. You just scan the fucking barcode and it tells you. And so you can enter things like pinto beans, boom, it tells you. There are 0 points. So anything you enter, they generally have a value for, even fast food chains. So it's shockingly easy to use. Take Weight Watchers out of the equation. Is being vegan difficult? Yes. Like I watched my kid go through it. I'm like, you have no choices. You're really limited to the places you can go in life and go out to eat. But if it's a choice between winding up in the fucking emergency room again and, you know, eating whatever I want to eat, which is what I did for 47 years and then wound up nearly fucking dying, closest I ever came to death, I'm okay to go plant-based for a while. Like I told the kid, I'm doing it for at least a year, and if I can live like this, I'll keep going.
So you cut out milk, cheese, animal products, and
So
sugar?
all your
You
meats.
cut out sugar?
Sugar I cut out prior to this. Now,
when I first met you, you were a candy junkie.
Yes, oh my god. And look, I'm still a candy junkie at heart. I just can't imbibe it.
Right.
I'll always be a candy junkie.
So-
I'm a dry drunk right now. I'm just like,
So
I
for
would
you,
eat all the candy if it wasn't.
It was mostly the dairy and the meat.
That I had to
was
say
the big
goodbye
thing
to?
you cut out.
Yes.
That was the biggest percentage of your diet.
Probably, yeah. Especially dairy.
Now what about exercise?
Exercise, after the heart attack, they don't want you to shit for like the first month. So this is only 3 months ago that the heart attack happened. So once the doctor gave me the A-OK, then I was back to walking the dog and stuff the way I was doing. I haven't gone harder than that. And I don't honestly, like, so fucking lazy at heart that it doesn't, like, some people are like, I love getting out there. It fucking helps me think. And plus, nothing. I can fucking think just fine. I know I'm smoking a joint, sitting there fucking watching Colbert or something.
That's where you and I separate, right?
You like the physical, like the, you know, you like the rush. You're like the adrenaline junkies who have kind of raised their level, and so it's not enough for you to just sit in one place. Like you can do this, and it's shocking that you'll do it for 3 hours. But then after this, you probably do something like Razzle a Bear, fucking knife hunt,
species of
I run hills.
Is that what you do?
Yeah, I run hills in the morning.
How far?
A couple miles at the most I do. Because it's real steep stuff.
Do you listen to anything, or are you?
Today I did. Today I cheated.
It sounds like saliva too. So that's what like.
Because it is.
It's supposed to be in a nice
So
Yeah,
whatever.
it's a smoker.
stuff at a certain pace. And when you listen to something, especially something cool, it distracts you.
I made a lot,
You
so
hear how
that's why we fit in.
but you don't think negatively about it. Because you're thinking about whatever the music you're listening to is. It's really interesting because it's a nice trick. Because you can actually work harder and not be bothered by it. Because you're so tuned into the music that you're listening to or whatever it is you're really captivated with that you can keep pushing. But most of the time I like to do it where I don't hear shit. I just hear the pounding of my footsteps and my breathing. And also I have a little logical fear of mountain lions.
It just ends on, I have a biological fear of mountain lions.
It's just so much bones.
Yeah, there's tons of bones. I don't remember there being bones because I used that when I did the meat before and it didn't come
Well,
across.
I just like there was like a big just fish chunk in there that was just cut out in the way, so I just put it in. Whereas usually we just use the paste. So, because I learned to listen, don't actually use the fish and just get rid of that and just get to the paste.
I went low fat, plant based 2 years ago. And my resting heart went from 78 to 59. I'll never go back to meat and dairy. Of course, eating vegan is going to fix all your levels. Animal products are so toxic to our systems. The negativity against veganism is all advertising. No one profits if you go vegan. What? What do you mean no one profits? Some profits if you continue to eat. Both people profit for both things. I don't quite understand. That doesn't make much sense. Vegan for 0 years. Feeling great. That's funny. Vegan for 1 year. Best decision I've done. See, here's the thing. Like, when you look at these people and all of their, like, oh, hey, this person reduces heart disease by going plant-based or whatever. It's like, okay, well, what's the deal? What do I do? The carnivore people say, nope, this is the best. This is how you lower like your levels. Then the vegans are like, well, no, this is what you do. It's like, well, I don't even know what that even means.
No, that looks like a pot. You know what a pot looks like?
Is this gonna fit?
Yeah.
What is this?
What's in this?
What this is a box.
What freaks you out?
Like, I feel like I broke it. Oh, my back. That hurt it. Hurt it. Go back to school.
Hurt.
So cold.
So uneducated.
Be uneducated than in school.
I'd rather be unfortunate than uneducated.
So what you're saying?
I actually know what that's off of.
What?
The boy who skateboard, he fell. He said, yeah, I know what I'm talking about. What was he?
Huh?
What was he?
Yeah.
Black. Boy.
You just said that because you guessed. You saw the video before. So you had it. So you had it.
I know what you're trying to say.
And you know you had it.
I know what you're trying to say. You looked it up, didn't you?
No, I saw the video.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't. Joe and I was telling you, we were
Oh my gosh. I've seen everyone's dress. I know it's from. It's a movie.
Whatever.
You know,
I'll be
what,
that out.